to find their stride. Although they made a couple of initial mistakes, they still were able to clutch it up. Players coming alive. Fault line won't be stopping the Hunter's Fury, but it's only just a single attack got to Sky. Darren so close. Enabling the dash, looking to find cover, but cannot. No-namers are the ones to find a pick early on this time around. Oh, but Maxi is able to find movement onto Sky. Still close. DXN, what an angle. When do you peek here? Ooh, Shun is shut down. Maxi finds a kill attempts. DXN will be able to say surprise from behind, but is the damage already done? The spike has yet to go down. They're going off the Ventra. He's all by himself, and there you go. DXN has brought it down to ensure, well, Alta is able to do it. 13 to 10 for Bleed, closing out map number 1.
I can't help but think the hesitation from Bleed there, from DXN, sorry, to kill those Bleed members, was actually that killing blow there. Because they hesitate, they're able to be overwhelmed, they get finished off. However, for no-namers, you know, being able to get 10 rounds on Bleed's map pick definitely gives good tidings of what is going to happen on Icebox.
One thing I have got to say, I love the cams afterwards from Bleed. So happy, so friendly, thumbs up, take a mental image of it, all of it, the smiles. I love this team, I love it. Yeah, that is Bleed. Getting map 1 out of the series means that they're in a really, really good spot, Kremer. And seeing how they've been able to perform in these clutch positions where, you know, there's high intensity, even at disadvantages, shows that they've also got sort of a comfort in their players to take these fights. But let's have a look at those fights in particular by looking at these highlights. A lot of these plays were ever so close.
They really, really were. Something that does surprise me particularly is the fact that Bleed started off on the back foot, like considerably on the back foot. You know, no-namers, they weren't messing around here. But the fact that we were able to see Bleed not only recover, but particularly on their defense, just sort of stop no-namers, for me was a really significant turnaround.
Yeah, it really was. Slow start though. I think it was very hotly contested throughout it. Although Bleed always seemed to be on top, it was no-namers to bring some sort of resurgence. You know, I think they were down 12 to 8, and then was taken back to 12 to 10, and then we were worrying, okay, are we looking at an overtime score at this? But no, Bleed were able to win out clutches. I really like how Darian played around also. Very, very aggressive movement, but always very calculated, always having sort of the flash coming in from his teammates, either if it's Max's paranoia or the flashpoints from Pith. There was very good cohesion behind the roster. Even though it wasn't clean all of the time, it was good most of the time. And that, I guess, was what was necessary.
For me, the big question mark for Bleed is what good can Darion do? If Darion can drop kind of 28, 30 kills again on Icebox, then Bleed have pretty much done half the damage already. They're already halfway there to a victory. No-namers didn't have anyone to beat Darion. Instead, they just overwhelmed him. They sort of took unfair duels with him. They actually really work as a team, and it definitely did a number on them when they started around a player down.
Yeah, there were some moments we saw also some misplays. I think you can also highlight that. Apart from the fact that Bleed did a standard job, I think there were also some misplacements at times, some over-aggressions when the sort of game plan perhaps to play passively after a spike plant to go for the, you know, go for the Rolling Thunder sort of play, and then you see some early preemptive swings out into the open, which meant that they lost. So yeah, there were a few things from no-namers that definitely could be improved, and there's things that can be quickly improved. There's nothing very big fundamentally wrong about them, is that they need to kind of be a little bit more in line, a little bit on the same wavelength with the rest of the team. But having a look at the statistics, is there any surprise to you, Kremer?
For me, it was it's fairly standard, to be honest. I want to highlight something that surprised me was Maxi using the operator over Darion. I think that sort of came down to comfort there. And if Maxi is preferring to use the operator, why didn't we see a chamber? And then, you know, maybe no Killjoy have ulti go into the Omen. But instead, Bleed sort of worked with what they were good at. And yes, they did win the map, but it was by no means comfortable.
No, no, definitely was a close endeavor. You can see it also with the statistics in regards to the damage and headshot percentage, but it also sort of shows that a lot of these wins anyway were frag heavy wins, right? It's out of the 23 rounds played, 19 of them were down to frag wins, right? Not really objectives. So you can see that the game plan of these two teams is not only sort of get the spike down, play the post plant, it's go in, get kills, overwhelm, pressure positions, and get kills in that way, which it actually makes for very entertaining Valorant.
It really does. It means we see some really elaborate retakes as well, which I quite like. Something that is going to concern me fairly significantly is retakes on Icebox are significantly harder. So I'm going to be very interested to see if there's any change in gameplay from Bleeds kind of going on to Icebox, particularly when you know you're going to your opponent's home ground.
Yeah, there are going to have to be changes. Obviously, as you have said, I did not know this, but coming into this one, Icebox, the map of the region, let's see if that actually it will kind of upset perhaps like the one did earlier in the previous matchup. The reverse sweep, of course, brought out from the underdogs. Now I think we're talking about a level playing field. I don't think that you can't really say there's one that is an underdog over the other. I guess they are points to be made on either end, but I guess we'll be able to see the action shortly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a short break. See you then.
Xiên, bão đúc luôn, bắn tật, đúc bự.
team members moving in so quickly here. Listen to the absolute symphony of footsteps. Now you have to move away and move into leather. The Lions strike with his Frey, and Frey continues to play. Could it be the pistol ace?
Because if they rush back into it and he doesn't find those strikes, that could be painful, but he finds every single one of them. Are you kidding me, Forsaken?
A scene that keeps on giving. VCT MYSG Playoffs Day 3, and it's the second map of this series of No Names versus Bleed, heading into the freezy cool Icebox map. Kremer, after that first map, what can we take away? It was very, very close.
Yeah, for me, Bleeds, they had better individuals, essentially. Yeah, no one was there to beat Darion from No Namers. And so Darion was sort of allowed to run rampant. It was only once he sort of overextended was No Namers able to shut him down. So going into Icebox, I really want to see a sort of active effort from No Namers to stop Darion from just running rampant, as he was able to do so over on Haven.
Yeah, Haven may be kind of similar to Icebox in regards to long rotations, but it's more difficult in regards to sort of choke points and such. Icebox, there's different elevation, etc. I think we can now start discussing about what compositions we may expect from this, right? Icebox, very differently dynamic. In the scene, it's a very sort of well-rehearsed map.
Yeah.
What are your expectations?
From Bleed, I don't know. They're playing with a stand-in. That being said, they have favored the sort of Omen Viper chamber, not brought in a Sage, instead had the Sova instead. Over on No Namers, they've really sort of shoehorned into one composition. That is that Sage and Viper with the chamber and Sova instead. And it looks like we're seeing just that. You know, there's nothing out of the ordinary here, except I would expect Ulti to go to do the Killjoy. That's the only thing I would expect to see here. Or just stay on the chamber, but still.
I think we can see it right in front of us, what is actually happening. So we do have the commit onto the Sage from both ends. Interesting stuff. Icebox can be played in multiple ways. I really like it as well. What are your thoughts in general?
Bleed's putting out something new, and I like the fact we're seeing something new from them. The sort of double wall is really proven to be effective. I know a lot of teams have tried to stray away from that double wall meta, but nothing's really beat it yet. And I don't think we're going to see any new metas for kind of a good few months now. So the double wall I quite like. I'm surprised that we're not seeing a chamber over on Bleed, considering how Maxi does prefer wielding that operator over Darion. You would want it to be on an agent that sort of complements that. Instead, we're seeing an Omen and then a Jets, whereas over on No Namers, the only variation is that chamber.
Indeed, indeed. Really could go either way. When it comes to expectations of results, I know this is very early and I could be putting you on the spot, but can you give us any insights on what is perhaps projected or expected from this teams in this map?
So what's interesting is Icebox has been the third and final map in all of the series that these guys have played against each other in. You go back far enough and the only time they haven't been able to play Icebox was when it was a 2-0 to Bleed. But the last two times we've seen Icebox, Galaxy have won 13-7 and 13-9. Both times though, No Name was won. So for Bleed, this is their shot at vengeance. Considering how they're performing earlier, I don't know if now's the time it happens. I actually think we're going to a third map.
Could be. The second third map of the day could be on the line. It all depends here on Icebox. Let's see how this one works out. Early kitchen control coming over to Bleed as they do push aggressively. Shun has realized this, telegraphed this, but the push will commence either way, and the wraparound from the rest of the defenders will also come to assist. Out into the open, it seems that No Namers are actually getting most of the kills here, as they also get orb control over to the B main entry. But still, Snowman control from Bleed will make this retake a little bit tough and unorthodox for the retaking side.
Yeah, this is going to be very hard to rehearse here. Just baiting for Darion here, making some noise. Temps caught out, down to the 3-on-3, as things look a little bit brighter for Bleed here.
and now can use kitchen in their favor. And you can see that DXN is challenging it. Snakebite lineup from both ends. Bleed are starting to get more kills their way. What? Double frenzy kill? Darion's position is Telegraph solo, but makes it work. 8 points of health and still survives to give Bleed the round.
8 points of health, and he pushes in there to knowing that the frenzy's about to run out of ammo. That is so smart. And for No Namers, they start off on the back foot. However, for a moment, that looked very recoverable. Very, very recoverable, thanks to just one mere frenzy. And that sort of does show you how quickly this game can turn on a knife set.
This is actually very high level Valorant, man. I like it because it's also sort of recreation of positions that teams will feel uncomfortable on. Bleed knows that they need to put no-namers out of their comfort here, and they're going for it directly with interesting picks, interesting playstyles. They were down in numbers, but the fact that no-namers had no clue how to approach it or haven't rehearsed that before, at least not many times, it made it just simpler for Bleed to kind of find the right angles to work with here.
Extending from the flank, caught out there.
It's just simple. It really is just that simple. Wall, finding alternative angle for Alter to work with. Does end up falling, but he was one that you didn't really fear to fall. Vera? Okay, we see you. He will check the left side, but won't be checking the upper corner, because that's where Darion is hiding. Sky, with a classic, will fall to his grave as soon as that. 2-0 for Bleed, without too many complications.
Yep, and Vera does for a moment snap back. He does show Bleed that you can't get too comfortable. However, Bleed, they're able to take it in their stride. Now 2-0, they move into their chance to play a bit of a bonus now against the full bite of no-namers. However, this is where we need to highlight the fact that every player who dies on no-namers is going to feel it in the wallets. Almost every single player has brought down to exactly 0. There is no economic standpoint to rely on. This is it. Whatever you can carry is yours. Anything else no longer belongs to you, as Bleed look to play a fairly strong buy as a bonus with Vandals on 2 players, and a Bulldog.
Should be simple for no-namers unless any weird shenanigans go on, which seems to be happening right away here. Mid, Arion actually finding kills. Okay, no way Bleed to get this. This would be such a big victory for them. Puts them up so much. Oh, they bump into each other.
No.
Oh no, Sky. I feel for you, because that is me in matchmaking every single day. Oh, but for them, the stakes are higher. Bleed could be forcing them out of this tournament while securing themselves into VCT challenges of APAC. They only drop a player, and this was a bonus round for them.
This is turning into a very, very strong start from Bleed. And for no-namers, we need to see them stop it somehow and as soon as possible. Because this time, Darion's being matched. Vera's having a very good game. But over on Bleed, you know, you got Alti and Pith who are still kind of multi-fragging. On no-namers, DXN attempts, Sky gets to kill. While Vera may be having a good game, he can't have a good game solo. There needs to be more from no-namers here. Otherwise, Bleed are just going to stomp them into the ground.
We've seen some crazy Sheriff rounds before. I don't think this will be one of them, although it could be. The rotation is fairly quick. Oh! Dirty!
Filthy.
So dirty!
Behave yourself.
I feel disgusting. I need a shower after that.
I need a bath. No-namers. A player up.
The Vandal's a little bit too far out of reach, though. That would be something. Allow it to the open. That made me scared. Oh, that made me clutch my buttocks. Toxic screen. Alluding to a cross, but that's not happening. Biff can read it. That's a head. Drops back. Faking their movement backwards. But they know they can't give away the space. They can't give them the Vandals, because then they give them a chance.
This still
and
has
no-namers also know that.
Yeah, there's still a Viper Spit to wield here, so there is definitely ground here for Bleed to make up.
30 seconds
but no-namers, they haven't shifted. This is so brave from no-namers. I love it.
They know what they have to do. There's no reason for them to alternate their push. Stage wall will come by. That will at least allow a safe plant. And that will also keep them equal in numbers. Attempt to try to deny it, but it just won't be happening.
10
Snake,
seconds left.
well, the Toxic Stream will be falling in time. Viper's Pit committed to. The plants will be falling as well.
enemy
They will
remaining.
try desperately to attempt the impossible, but Bleed are able to recover it. Nice try from No Namers, but it just isn't it. Bleed, keep it going.
Fifth, robbed of another ace as well. My heart goes out to him. And I think that was Ulti actually who stole the ace, and he was the player on for the ace last map. So really showing Pith what it feels like. As Bleed lead 4-0, they're going to see an early timeout here. Hopefully one from No Namers. There we go. I would very much like to see some adaptation come from them. I would like to see a bit more aggression, actually. I think, as we saw last round, yes, they had pistols, but they didn't peak until Bleed were already on that site. Then it meant that Bleed were able to make a bit of a land grab. They were able to sort of set up for that initial utility without being too disturbed by No Namers. And I think because that kind of No Namers are showing a little bit too much respect to Bleed here.
Very much could be. Whether that attitude changes during a timeout is different, because that is an attitude that you can't really switch that easily. But of course now they'll have weapons to work with.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the stakes here. Not your Sterlings, not your Wagyus, not your, you know, any kind of stake. We're talking about the stakes of the game.
Ran out of stakes after 2.
Yeah, I ran out of 2. Your ribeyes, you know.
Yeah.
Your tailbones. All right. What I meant to say is that if they lose this match, if No Namers, the point is, I was getting too heavy into the stakes, you know. But the point is, if No Namers lose this map, they're out. Well, Bleed secure their spot into VCT APAC.
It's very true. It's very true. As Bleed prepare their assault away, slowly inching forward now. DXN on the close angle with this operator. A bit of an off angle. Will Bleed expect it though? With Darren going very fast here.
Ooh, very fast indeed. Oh, Speedy Gonzalez in the house, everybody. Bleed making this look simple. That was a buy round from No Namers, by the way. That was zero respect. Zero respect.
Yeah, and No Namers timeout. It max for out Pavlos. Bleeds, they just cascade onto No Namers there. Darion particularly, giving no respect whatsoever, continuing his momentum, and, well, showing us exactly why he wants to contest to be one of the best Jets in APAC. As No Namers, they get the hell out of Dodge. They back out of here. They don't want anything to do with this. But Pith does. Bleed wants a hunt.
They do want to hunt. No Namers don't want to give away on these weapons. Oh, they've waited a few rounds to be able to afford them, and losing their birthday present like that wouldn't be nice. So yeah, they will be holding on to them. They say enough of that. These are ours, and they will be able to defend them. So 2 rifles saved, but Bleed undefeated so far in this map.
That they are, and for No Namers, I mean, how do you react to this, Darion? Particularly this kill here, just right-click to the abdomen at DXN. That's gotta hurt. As Bleed,
It does.
they go 5-0 up, and you've been stabbed in the abdomen before, Pavlos?
No, but I've been kicked there.
Yeah, that must really hurt.
Yeah.
No Namers. They're going to rely on the tour de force here for the DXN to at least challenge the operator at Maxi. But Maxi's taking quite a passive stance. Just to Bleed. Getting ready once again to the safe side. Actually ready to go through the Viper's pits.
I love the angle that Vera's holding, but none of them are really contesting it right now. Oh, repositions just a little bit. Some damage falling onto Alta. But the ability to heal yourself is a good one. So, not too bad of a deficit.
Pit there gets very close.
Imagine.
So it's Maxi, to be honest. If I'm Sky, I'm getting a bit scared here.
The rule of thumb is don't push the Viper's Pit, ever. Ever. But they are going for it. They are committing to it. And Bleed isn't your everyday Joes, but this time around, it's Sky Vera holding ground. 1 apiece, but Vera falls. Sky, lone defender, enforcements arriving. Shun also chimes in. Yeah, There's a reason why not pushing Viper's Pit is a rule of
30
thumb.
seconds left.
There's a reason why you should really hold on to that idea. Lena is able to cross forwards. Door fast from the XN, keeping them in. It's all down to Pith. All down to Pith up against 3, and I believe TXN's got the right lineup, and that is where Pith will be falling.
No
Bleed
names for themselves.
shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, they put themselves on the board, but that is that's Bleed playing badly, not No Name was playing well. All they sort of do there is just kill Bleed when Bleed run into them. As you mentioned, the kind of rule of thumb, you don't go into a Viper's Pit. The only time I can accept that is if you're going around it, using a spike plant to force the Viper out of their own pit. And I think the plan was there. Absolutely.
I mean, that's exactly right. Like, pushing through a Viper's Pit, also maybe if you want to dash through it with an assistance of a Hunter's Fury or something, or throw an Orbital Strike through it first to get rid of the Viper in it, you know? But they had none of that.
Darion going aggressive. Sets off a lot of utility here, but still not quite ready to enter a gunfight with the lurking Sage of Temps here.
Well, the A-site's been handed over. Quite freely so. Simple trade. They do
They're
lose
already on
Alta.
site. That's that.
That wall could have been important for the post plant. But other than that, Bleed will take that trade any day of the week.
Yep. Flank is going to be spotted out by Darion if Fifth doesn't do it already. There's the revelation. DXN spotted out. There's the kill from Darion. And there's the flank. The additional way of sort of catching out Bleed here just removed. It's now going to become a one-dimensional attack.
2 shock darts available. Spike touched twice, but not committed to, and they know it. Oh, the wall is perfect. Pre-firing it, damage found! Maxi gets it! And Bleed, again, picture perfect. That is its new sign, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Not perfect enough, is it? And with that, Maxi able to bring a Bleed Death 6. Bear in mind, those 2 kills, before that you had only 1. He's having a very quiet game, but it's the impact of the kills, not the quantity Pavlos. And for no-namers, unfortunately, their money is running out. It's down to the odd Vandal on Shun, but other than that, you know, it's Sheriffs, and that Vandal actually going to be sold on, realizing that this economy's got to stay uniform.
Oh, they're going to go aggressive. I don't know if I like this. I mean, it's something.
Spike down
Only good for
mid.
1 at the end of days. Could be way worse. And damage onto Darion does
1 enemy
stop his
remaining.
confidence. Shun dies. Maxi just TPs into his face and dies. Okay. Well, DXN has found his way on the back line. A Vandal has been found, but where they can find more damage here, that is the question. Do we speak about steaks again? How'd you like your steak, Tremor?
Medium rare.
All right.
How do you like yours?
I like mine just slightly more cooked than that. Medium.
Well, it looks like DXN may be able to turn Bleed over medium rare in this case, particularly if he wins this 1v2.
There's no way. He's blocked in the middle. Especially when he has to go through a Viper's Pit. His health will go down rapidly. And he's been shown. Bleed are making this look easy, Kremer.
Pith delivers a beaten, bloodied, and sort of tenderized DXN to the table. Your stakes, sir. Bleed, 7-1 up. And I can't help but think that if we don't see a solution from no-namers sort of before Bleed kind of break 9-10 rounds, then we won't. There is very limited time left in this map for no-namers to recover. Luckily, this is the first time in a very long time we've seen a decent buy from them. Operator out on Vera, ults on 2 of their players. Vera one away from a Blaze Storm as well to go up against Bleed, who, well, don't have an Operator. As Vera will kindly show us.
Ooh, Pith. Bullets the head of DXN. And now they are at equal footing. We've seen a round like this happen before, but last time no-namers had no weapons. How is this contested? Vera, Operator, how confident are you to push past this? Draws out the Blade instead. Aggressive, perhaps. Expected from Darion, but prohibits it. Orb will delay, funneling them towards their back end of the site. Bleed aren't going to peek this. Vera hoping they do. Poison Cloud to give them some more space. Temps is permitted the cross. Snakebite out into the open. Shun is able to find it. Sky as well. Piff is able to pick up Temps, but now the spike can be touched. Now there's pressure onto Bleed. Can they find the kills? Sky gets it. And Leonard's just too far away to do anything about it. Hunter's Fury will come through, but I think the defuse can be committed to. And it won't be defused in time. Another will fall suit, but there is no time to stop the second diffuser. And that is going to be No Namers with another round on the board.
For a moment there, I thought that Lenny could actually win that on the conversion. Unfortunately, the damage just was not enough. Bleed, they lose another round, but is it just a drop in the ocean, Pavlos? As they're able to reinvest, no worries, over on No Namers, you know, they're still strapped for cash. It's going to be a glass cannon op over on Vera, and with only a resurrection to wield, they are definitely outgunned going against Bleed here, with Darion bringing out the Blade Storm.
Could be fairly aggressive. Recon Ball shot down as soon as it's thrown. But yeah, it is very aggressive. Kitchen push coming their way. I think the reaction from No Namers is to play around it, not really commit to it. DXN finding his shots for good reason. Now they're ahead in numbers, although they give away a lot of B main control, and that's where Bleed are looking to move into. Oh,
Vera's read this.
Oh, but is it a time? Oh dear! That has got to hurt.
That's soul crushing. My heart goes out to Vera, it really does.
The gods of timing did not favor him. Oh, look below, look below! No, DXN finds it. Okay, No Name is back on top when it comes to the numbers. Do you expect the guy to be this close? What an off angle. No one checks it. This could be 2 kills. Misses the first shot, but it's okay. Still gets 2 of them. Shun and Vera are able to bring it back, but it's all down to Alte. No headshot at first. Oh, and it's Shun to shoot him down. Ever so close, but No Namers are starting to find round by round to close up this gap.
They're certainly not pretty rounds, are they? And they do come at a great exertion of effort, but they're still rounds nonetheless, Pavlos. And for No Namers, being able to sort of trade one another, being able to go for the bait and switch, as we saw is what they did with Darion there, worked beautifully. Bleed with a reinvestment, sure, but this is going to be a situation Bleed haven't been in before, where on their attacking side, at least in this map, they might run out of money.
You don't really want to run out of money when you've been that far ahead.
Yeah.
And if you're No Namers, you know you're also down a map, so coming back sooner than later is optimal. Giving Bleed too much of an advantage in this half. Not exactly what they want. 75 is recoverable. Not too bad.
Darion, we're trying to find an angle here. This is so brave.
Very brave. Sky and Thames are able to find their first shots. Viper's Pit to deny any more possibilities of aggression here for Bleed. First steps all around, but Maxi close. Snakebite exactly where it should be placed. Everyone is treading on Legos right now.
You will not kill
As carefully as possible to not hurt them. But DXN has found his way into the back line. And DXN will shoot every single one of them down. He doesn't need to see most of them. Just shoot behind that smoke and he'll find the bullets. 7 of 4. No Namers 4 in a row are back in the game. And they're back to stay.
That they are. And for No Namers with a 4th round on the kind of cusp of getting 5, that goes from what has been a kind of horrific kind of setup for a defeat to actually quite a convincing half, you know? 5 rounds on your defensive Icebox is nothing to turn your nose up at. And for Bleed, the adaptation does need to come in. Shun going for an Odin, love to see that. But let's see if it gets any mileage here with Bleed going very fast over to B.
Oh, DXN may be in trouble. Thankfully for him, had the rendezvous to get out of there. Darion, movement towards yellow. DXN knows of this. He's just wary whether a peak will come out from the same location, but also wants to make sure that nobody else crosses. It's a big decision to make. It's fine margins, man, I'm telling you. Every small microplay does make a difference. Viper's Pit, though. Is this what Bleed need? They're not comfortable to get the spike down yet. They know it can be shot to. Darian on top, has to drop back, spotted by the Owl drone. Oh, no names are close, denying the pawn from Alte.
It's perfect.
It's more than perfect. Lenny will be able to find one, but Vera keeps it going, keeps things better for No Namers, and he wants to approach even closer. Out into the open though, and they both end up dying. Temps and Shun are able to find themselves kills. Darren expects someone to be on top of the wall, but instead they are below. Spike perhaps to be recovered. It is.
30 seconds left.
Do they know where he is?
Player standing.
Shun had the right idea, but he still gets it done. Temps crossing, moving towards
This
kitchen.
is so brave. This is so smart.
The fight will commence towards the A site.
There's
10
plenty of time
seconds
as well. Darren's going to be able to get this. He's going to be able to get spiked out. He's going to be able to get the hell out of dodge afterwards as well. He can play the range game. In fact, now he's going aggressive. Oh, Temps. Does he read this?
He doesn't!
Oh, wow.
Darion, so done accurate, clutches up the round for Bleed and closes it out for an 8-4 scoreline at halftime.
Really, really strong round from Bleed
30
there.
seconds
And
left.
honestly, if this is where, if this is where we see Bleed sort of put their foot down, they're finally able to do it in the final round of the half. No Namers, their sort of 3-round spree is limited to just 3 rounds now. Bleed take the pistol rounds, then No Namers once again back into crisis mode. But what they've done in these 3 rounds they were able to win is they've given themselves space to breathe. They've given themselves a lifeline now. If Bleed do end up taking kind of the pistol round, then the game isn't automatically over.
I saw Sky at the start of this round from the No Namer side start shooting his teammates during the start of the round. I usually do that when I'm frustrated with myself not being able to shoot, and I try to do a practice range before the round starts. That type of thing. I've got a feeling a few players from the No Namer side are not really feeling comfortable with themselves.
Potentially. I think that this is a very experienced scene. So you know, even though No Namers definitely on the back foot, I still think they're still a pro team. I think nerves aren't really going to matter at this point here, as they set up ready to assault Maxi now, the only player at Bleed on this B site, and in response, Maxi doesn't even want to fight. It's going to be a 5-on-5 retake, Pavlos.
There's nothing Maxi could do, really. Walled off there, Shun keeping them back, but still not able to find the kill he would have liked. Shut down by Alte, although finding damage onto Lene, the healing orb will do its job. No Namers. Lacking the numbers, but with spike control. Toxic Screen. Blocking the opposing team back. Darion, so precise, and DXN is no more. Pushing towards the backside of Yellow. Still winning out on one of these trays. Vera is all that remains. Overwhelmed with opposing players. Gets 2 before he falls, but plenty of time to get to the fuse. Bleed needed this, and they will be securing it.
This is now where the sort of warning bells go off for No Namers. The pistol round was their ticket back into this game. They've lost it. Now we're going to see a second round force buy from them. I like it. They're going to try and catch Bleed by surprise, Pavlos.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. Isn't that how the saying goes?
Yeah, it is.
And these are some desperate times.
It certainly
Down the
is. Yeah, it certainly is. But Bleed, still the pilot seat here, and despite the force buy, Bleed, they're just shutting it down, and I think it's more than panic now. I think it may be terror.
They had one plan coming into that round, getting the wall down, crossing towards mid and heading towards that B site. That was denied, therefore now they're just running away, hiding, because they've got nothing else they can do. Their plan just didn't work out, and they had no B plan. No fallback plan.
Your tactics failed.
Shun has to fall. Only one drop for Bleed. No Namers may now be trailing even further behind.
Yeah, 10-4, No Namers now. They're going for a second round buy as well, which for me is to be honest, the exact opposite of what you want here. You've just had a very close kind of force buy round. Doesn't work. You don't force again. You don't keep trying it till it doesn't work because you don't have the rounds to experiment. I really don't want to see this Guardian on Temps. I really don't. But it's committed to, and while it does give a bit of extra firepower, I can't help but think Bleed are going to shut this down.
Bleed don't care about expectations, anticipations as such. They just want to get this done and dusted with. They want to prove the world that they are top 3 worthy of MYSG. They can fight for the final still. Survive through this gruesome lower bracket. Seems they've gotten the numbers advantage so far. Temps with the Guardian is where no-namers seem to put their faith towards. Hot shots. Not connecting and running out of bullets will be no help for DXN. Pith is able to connect his shots as he crosses forwards. They hear the spike dropped as well. This just confirms their suspicions. But Shun has found 2 beautiful headshots, might I add. Recon out to the open. Oh, spray transfer for the ages.
That was really
squeaky clean.
I tell you what, Pavlos, I quite like how no-namers, particularly when sort of backed into a corner, they don't get backed into a corner. They are really good at sort of fighting out of circumstances which they shouldn't really be in. Bleed, on the opposite side of the spectrum, really good at forcing no-namers into uncomfortable positions. And so it makes for a really interesting mid-round here. We're seeing an early timeout from no-namers. Frankly, it has to come in, you're 11-4 down. But as you look at the buy as well, no-namers are finally in a position where they can actually harass Bleed a little bit. That being said, there's enough for the odd bit of weaponry on Shun. There's no ult though, and without that ult, you're really going to have to rely quite heavily on your default util.
Default utility, perhaps, but no-name is under pressure. This is a second timeout of the match.
Yeah.
First and only timeout of the half. They already made the mistake of forcing. It would have been a mistake if it would have worked, but it just sets them back by so much.
They're not really playing the odds either, are they? Well, when you do go for a force buy second rounds, the odds are it won't work. The only time it really will is if you're either really gaining momentum or you have someone in your team who's just popping off. No-namers don't have either.
It's high risk, high reward. But when it's high risk, as you said, odds don't often fall in your favor. And aggressive plays like that often won't do as such. But it's just a simple trade. B-side opening. I think this is the best round we've seen from no-namers so far on the attacking side.
Yeah. It's going to require a retake from Bleed here, and with a flank coming from the Sova, this could actually put a spanner in the works, particularly if Shun can get more than one player. Shun is the difference maker of this round here, Pavlos.
So patient. I love how Shun is approaching this. This is a free kill. Oh, no! Oh, nearly.
Oh, that's laboured.
That is laboured. That got me scared.
Put a man up. Put a man up.
You can also see the wraparound coming in from Sky. Free kill, that's ahead. Okay, you can't lose this now. You cannot afford to lose this. Pith with a mere bulldog. The spike is going to explode, and Pith knows there's no way in hell he's getting this dub. Picks up an operator, opts to run away instead of taking a fight that he cannot win. Oh no! Ooh. Just on the edge of the spike explosion. Ends up falling. Nothing saved to Bleed.
That's
but no-namers get a win.
Very surprising to see players dying to bomb explosions. In this case, no-namers, they're going to be able to fall by. DXN is going to be able to bring out this tour de force. Temps and Vera one away from their ults. Over on Bleed, you look at the ult management, and we're about to see a lot come online. Sure, their guns aren't great, but this is alongside a Viper's Spit, a Bladestorm, a Hunter's Fury, a Resurrection, all sort of 1, 2 ult points away. You see the round kind of 18 or 19, we're going to see a fair few abilities come online. And for whoever wields the superior guns, that's going to be a huge favorment.
Still equally traded right at the start. You can see the desperateness coming out from the Bleed side, but it seems to have worked out. He gets away! He gets away! Shadow steps away, just like that. He's low on health, but he did his job. He's even being healed up right now. Bleed with an advantage.
Danny, accompanied by Alti, hoping for an opening here, but no-namers are being relatively passive, with Sky sort of joining everyone on the assault away. Maxi's timed it to perfection here. Spots out the first, there's the trade. Doesn't matter. That's enough damage, Pavlos.
That's what he needed. A trade is fine for them. As long as they are ahead in numbers, trading equally is perfect for Bleed. Not the same for no-namers, though, and they'll quickly put themselves on even playing field.
30 seconds left.
They know where the spike is being planted, but it means that
Spike planted.
Arte is all by himself, at least at the start. Will the swing be in time? No, it will not. Shun reads the swing, and all of a sudden, no-namers are easily ahead of this. Spike will be touched. Snakebite, knowing where Sky is. Will it be in time? Coming out of it, will enter from the side this time. Oh, this is perfect. This is more than perfect.
Enemy remaining.
Kaboom! And no more. Fist pit. Sean is there to stop it, though. And no-namers hold on.
For a moment, that looks horrific for no-namers, but they, don't get me wrong, they're limping, they're sort of struggling, but they are slowly making their way back into this. You've got to ask yourself, is it too little too late? And until Bleed hit 12 rounds, in fact, until Bleed hit 13 rounds, no, it's not. A comeback is still very much on the cards. You look at Bleed's economy, it's been absolutely shattered. No-namers could very well come back here, and if they can continue garnering this momentum, particularly if they can continue getting openings like this, then Bleed may have to seriously reconsider what to do next. I'll just start seeing Bleed use these timeouts.
How? Oh, yeah, Bleed. Yes, you're right. A timeout could be what they need. But I guess this round is one where they don't expect too much. But considering also no-namers aren't too great with their economy, finding some damage would be fruitful. They already have found one kill, but they can't afford keep taking these mid-fights. Expanding the resurrection, that is something. But still, it's the weapons they need to take out of the equation. That's the important part.
That timing is heartbreaking. The fact that Bleed is still inflicting damage onto no-namers is a... it makes me want to err on the side of caution.
Player standing.
Vera is very lucky that Lily also has to abide by the laws of physics, and ammo is his true captive there.
Yeah, not an unlimited resource, that's for sure. Alta just needs damage. If he gets one kill out of this, I think he'll be happy. Maybe actually two would be best. One won't have too much impact. Yeah, finds none of it. No-namers, as perfect as it could be. Yeah, okay, they lose a resurrection, but I don't think they care. They keep their weapons in check and can keep it going.
11-7 now. No-namers, their comeback is starting to actually get a bit of momentum. It's starting to build a bit of steam. Bleed have a full buy. Now, if there was a chance to topple no-namers' momentum, sort of just push to close out the series, this buy would be the one to do it. If no-namers can win it, then we're seeing Bleed on the back foot, reset once again, and no-namers starting to tickle double digits. Early aggression over to A now, spearheaded by DX10. Someone who's been so consistent with these op openings here. Vera and Lene in mid, both also having a bit of a staring match, at least for the time being.
It's not really a staring match when they can't see each other. Oh, yeah, it's a staring match for us.
They're staring at their auras. Their auras are staring at each other.
I've got the same skin as Lene.
That doesn't make you as good as Lene.
No, unfortunately not. I wish it did.
I wish it worked like that.
Out of charges.
No-namers, they prepare this assault to A. A very close quarter setup here from both Ulti and Pierce, something that's either going to work beautifully or catastrophically. I doubt there'll be much in between.
Moving in, no-namers. Their plan is clear. take this A site. Fox's screen enabled. Vera aggressing, knowing where at least one of them lie. Hunter's Fury utilized. Temps starting first, but quickly traded back. Vera getting it done. Vera with the Blade Storm keeps it going. Hunter's Fury from Mene is adequate, but we're down to a 2-on-3. And Nonems together with a spike plant will have the defending advantage now. They need a pick, and if they don't get it, this round is already lost. Recon to the far end, revealing one. Sean up close, the headshot found. There's no way Darian gets it done here. With an operator, with so many angles to consider, opts a dash away, but I'm afraid he will get peeked, and he will potentially be in trouble. No, gets away, no one challenging it. Ooh, barely though, barely gets away. But that is Nonems. They have a solid chance of finding their way back in now.
This spells horror for the members of Bleed here, who had such a convincing, such a dominant opening to the map. It's now just being sort of tossed out the window by Nonems, who are continuing this momentum now. 4 rounds on the bounce, looking to make it 5. You look at the money of Bleed, and they can just about buy, but not very convincingly. And more importantly, if they lose any players, then they're screwed economically. Bleed called for a timeout, and I'm sort of glad because this is a little bit overdue.
It is. It is. They've been losing round after round for quite some time now. Quite some time. And now have to kind of reconsider, how do they approach this, right? Their tactics sort of not really working out because they've kind of been reacting to what Nonems has been throwing at them. Versatility hasn't really been shown from them. We have seen a few mid pushes, perhaps, some mid contention. We've seen fairly deep B control. Not much towards A, which is where Nonems often find comfort towards the starting stages of the round. What do you think, I guess, they need to change to get back into this?
I want to see... it's difficult. I want to see Darion be a little bit more aggressive with this operator. Maybe even try and force a duel with the XN, because right now he's playing very defensively, and it means that once Noname has actually commenced like the pounce to a site, that operator's good for one before he gets overwhelmed. Noname is going for a very aggressive setup outside of B, and there's no one to stop him other than Maxi.
This commitment to weaponry is very odd. Obviously, the operator has been saved, but they have Maxi on a Phantom as well, while the rest are ecoing. Meaning that even next round, the full team won't be able to buy. Very risky decision.
Yeah, real risk. However, when you're running out of options, I guess maybe that's when the best decisions come out. Maxi, ready to spam the smoke, as well as LT looking for one of these openings. Unfortunately, not quite able to garner one.
No. And I think they know that they need to deal with this round before it even comes down to the spike plant. And they've grouped up here, and I don't think they'll budge. Even if Noname is moved, they know that their only hope is being in charge of the site before the push even commences. They can't afford for it to be a retake. Ball will come across, they're looking to break it close by. Darian has to fall. That's already the operator out of the equation with nobody nearby to pick it up. Smoke bite, slow up as well. There's no tempo to be grabbed here from Bleed. Nonemes had put that to a stop, to a halt. Operator, they know where they are. And Vera pre-fires it. As beautiful as they come, now the Phantom needs to be put into play. Maxi, the sole hope for Bleed. Can it be done? That's one. Not enough for a second. You needed more than that. Close by with the Sheriff, but no. Can't quite find more of it. Leonard with the operator to the back end will try and save the weapon. This round is down and out. Nonamers will be closing up the gap to 9 rounds. And Bleed.
Oh my.
They're bleeding.
They truly are. Have lost. We could very well be seeing overtime here. Or maybe not even overtime. Maybe Nonamers just win. Because Bleeds are collapsing. They can buy here, sure. We are going to have to see kind of limited shields on a lot of these players, limited bits of utility. But other than that, the buy is pretty good. In terms of momentum, though, in terms of serious momentum, Nonamers have been piloting it. We do see a Viper's Pit ready for Pith here, which we may actually see just expended. fairly early on, so the rest of Bleed can rotate to this B site. I don't like how Maxi is a solo player on B here, considering how consistently No Names have hit this site.
It's getting very, very close, Cameron. I think both of the teams know it. They know that the price is high. Let's see how this one works out. War coming through, Paranoia. It seems that Bleed want to go in for it straight away, but Maxi ends up falling. No assistance there, no crossfire created. They're taking risks, and they're not working out. No Namers are playing a simple game of Valorant, getting the spike down and getting the hell out of dodge.
Yeah.
And Bleed is just falling into their arms.
They're safe. They're safe. Pavlos, I do not like how Bleed are playing 1B.
Nope.
They've been playing 1B for the entire half, and No Namers, they've just figured that out. You know, these aren't even close rounds. You know, No Namers, so they've finished this with 2 players who are kind of relatively damaged. There may be a few exits, but that'll be it.
The fact that you have an Omen instead of the Chamber no longer has the effect that it had on the attack of being able to fake out, take space. So much damage from them. The Extend, by the way. But not having a Chamber, taking early extremity space towards the B site, risk-free, is not there for them anymore. It is impossible to hold down this defense.
Yep. And they're sending Maxi solo to be again. Oh, I really don't like... I guess now Blitz is there to assist, but this is without the Viper Spit. All they have now is a Resurrection.
They lose this round, they lose the game.
Yeah, well and truly. There's no cash on them either.
You want to play?
Leave now, fighting for survival here.
Pushing forwards. This is more like it from Bleed. Gotten more control. This time around, No Namers go for a different approach from mid. Maxi finds a guarding shot, an all-important one. He's got assistance this time around from Yellow. Has Pith been spotted, though? They're going after him. A perfect opportunity to grab 2 kills for free. Shun able to shut him down, but the damage has already been done. Bleed needed this round. They need it desperately, and they're able to guarantee it. They got to be happy about that because it's done been a while.
Match point.
It has been a really long time since we've seen the Bleed round victory banner. But here's the thing, Pavlos. Where was that kind of 9 rounds ago? You know, Bleed have worked so hard for what is just 1 round. You look over at No Namers, who they're able to reinvest, no problem. Bleed, they won that round only losing a single player, and their buy is still worse. So Maxi has to drop down to a Bulldog. No ults available for either team just yet, bar the single Resurrection over on ulti. Asterion looks to punish any aggression that may be attempted over to this B site, but without spotting someone instantly, it's an instant rotation. Oh, Pavlos, this could be the undoing of Bleed.
Oh, this really could. Oh, this really could. Oh, this could go wrong. But they're not heading towards the A site. They haven't figured it out yet. The X-Sense position has been telegraphed. Bleed know to not aggress towards mid anymore. They know how passively No Namers are playing it.
Here.
Yep, and I love the fact that they've been able to identify how passive No Namers are being. They can kill this owl drone without revealing too much from No Namers. Then they're able to garner so much information without kind of batting some back. The rotation as well of the stage means that for Bleed, they're just trying to position Darion to where the initial attack's coming from. They have an inkling that it's A, but they've changed their mind at the last moment, just as No Namers prepare their attack. 35 seconds left, and they've chosen the wrong site. Have lost the gamble, won't pay off.
30
Oh
seconds
dear.
left.
Lene, with all to do here, Aldrin barely spotting him. They know they're going to pre-fire. Or they don't! And that was going to be Lene getting 1 kill! Is the trade good enough, though? Spike now heading towards a site, yet to be planted. 18 seconds, fine margins we're playing with. Toxic screen keeping both teams apart. But now, the no man's zone will be crossed. Start cover to the one end, allowing the cross. Darian needing the extremity to be covered. Shun, that's a very risky position to garner. Darian knows of this. Recon Bolt, Cloudburst thrown at it. He's ready to go in here. He's ready to take an aggressive position. You can see he's ready to dash away. Isn't able to find the first shot, and neither does the opponent. Quickly getting one. Alter into the depths of hell. Resurrection has come forth, and now Bleed have the numbers. It's a 3v2, and he needs to take the trace. Diffuse halfway. Is it being committed to? Brings out the operator one more time. Drinks Pulls out the pistol, but there's simply no time. Had to be swinged from DXN, and no namers will be able to hold on.
Oh, it comes so close once again. It comes down to the final bullets from both players. But no namers now on the precipice of taking us to overtime. They have 4 ults available. They have all the money in the world they could ever hope for. Bleed on the flip side are dragging themselves round to round, just about finding enough money to keep them alive each time, and just about making it to the next round. No namers set up once again for A. This time though, it looks like they're upping the speed.
Okay, the stakes have just gotten harder. Temps getting himself the opening kill. Arte in a difficult spot, but it's gonna get shut down. No namers are taking us to overtime. There's no way. Hunter's Fury finding some extra damage here, but Max is able to bring it back. The spike isn't being planted yet, which means Bleed have a chance. They need a kill though. Vera is low. DXN gets it done once more. Route too tough. Maxi, 1 point of health. TP away. Finds himself the upper ground. Knowing where DXN is. Oh, falls short of the mark, and Shun, all left to do is to pull his shots towards Pith. We are heading to OT.
Switching sides.
Welcome to overtime, Pavlos. Bleeds are not going to be very happy that we are here. Bleeds, remember, were 10 or 12-3 in the, or 10 or 11-3, sorry, in the lead. And no namers have just given us a monumental comeback. Pith is having an incredible game, as is Darion, but the rest of Bleed kind of struggling to keep up with the rest of the pack. Over on no namers is Vera, DXN, and Shun, who are all doing very bloody well. But it's the Sages, it's Temps, it's Ulti, who are both really struggling in this game at the moment, being pummeled by these duelists and the Sentinels. As Bleed move to the attack, Pavlos, do you see any hope for Bleed here?
Now that they're on their attack, they may be able to see things with a different sight, from a different angle. Could allow them to get back, could. But their confidence, yeah, that is slowly running out. If they get this win here, this could be a dub for them, but they need this win. Otherwise, I see it not happening. Sage v Sage going in favor of Arte, but the rest, how do they go? Fairly equally. 3-on-3, spike planted. Not quite, going for the safer approach as Lene finds himself to the back of things. Aldrin expended early from the no-namer side, but the spike goes down for Bleed.
Pith, just spotted out by that recon dart, is able to get away, and with a snakebite available, Bleed can play the afterplan here. 3 versus 3, the HP isn't in their favor, but the utility is.
2 shock darts available for Leonard, but no more! He died! What? He went through mid, and it was red. That is Altair finding one, but a trade won't do it. Pith has to level up here. 1v2 with DXN, operator at hand, has to find the right-hand side angle. Pith is able to find it down to a duel. Not being diffused. Pith, when does he find comfort to peek out? Now he does!
Oh, that's perfect.
Again on map and series points. Is this the time where they're able to cross through that finishing line?
It took him a while, it really did. But for me, Pith, bear in mind, we just highlighted the fact he's having an incredible game right now, Pavlos. The fact he's able to win the 1 versus 2, they call for the timeout. This is where, bear in mind, we go to overtime now, and Bleed can finally buy. You know, they went through, I think, about 10 rounds where they couldn't afford anything. So the fact they're even in overtime is impressive. And now they have the comfort to cash.
It seems that the Bleed Esports Achilles heel was his defense, though.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm sensing another overtime. I really am. I'm glad they take a timeout, though, because now they need to consider what the best line of action is.
Do you see us going to map 3, Pavlos?
It could. It's not over till it's over, is it, Kremer?
That's true. That's true. I would love to see a map 3. I really want to see Breeze as well, because that's where both Darion and DXN can sort of roam free. So that's going to be a really interesting map. However, Let's see if we're going to be getting there first. Bleed on their defense. They fan out, they spread out, and now we're seeing a change. This time, Maxi heads over to A. We see the Jet and Viper double up on B now. Potentially a cause to be a little bit more aggressive. Potentially Maxi given a bit more free roam with the operator on A. But regardless of the matter, he is a solo, which means if he dies, it's going to spell big trouble.
I can say one thing for sure. Bleed do not want to see a third map.
They don't.
Setting aside default from no-namers, nothing too aggressive. Bleed, I like the approach this time around, aggressive towards B. That's what you need. Dedicate the rest towards A, kind of leaving mid under the control of Lene. How is this read? It seems that no-namers want to contest this. No way. Pushing forwards, Vera.
Toxin screen down.
Eager to find an opening, but says no to that. At least not yet. At least without reinforcements.
This could be perfect. It's all on timing now. This first kill, Pavlos, will decide everything.
It really could. One kill only. Snakebite to their feet. The timing. DXN, though, he's got his crosshair ready. He's got his crosshair ready as soon as the wall drops. That could be a pre-fire. Pith throws it and gets to the side, out into the open. Pith is able to find the first kill, and now what does that mean for Bleed? Do they push forwards? That is Darion on a very off angle. Caught off guard. Cloudburst to the side, allowing both of the players to cross forwards. Cross backwards, actually, but Pith stays behind. He stays behind. The cross coming out. Darion doesn't shoot him. What is going on?
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to.
Done it. Crazy stuff! It took them forever, but you can see how happy and how relieved that makes them. Wave to the camera, boys, smile and wave, because what you just did was beyond crazy.
Yeah, they're going to be very happy with what was a very dominant performance, but Pavlos, that was a laboured performance. That could have been closed out kind of 20 minutes ago. The fact that no-namers were able to almost trap Bleed in their own map and make them go to overtime, for me, is nothing to turn your nose up at. No-namers, an incredible performance from them. Unfortunately, it just wasn't quite enough.
It wasn't, but the series is over, right? 2-0 at the end. I think, as you said, it was laboured, but I think what Bleed can take from that is how to come back from it, right? There's a lot to learn from it. And unfortunately for no-namers, that is the end of the road when it comes to VCT MYSG for them. They're out. No VCT APAC, none of that. But for Bleed, we'll be able to see more of them. And I think that's what a lot of the fans of this region have kind of been looking at. They've loved these guys forever. And of course you would. They're so cool with the... they're so cool. They're so friendly. How can you not? So valiant victory for them. And they'll be playing later on against the lower final, in the lower final against Paper Rex. No easy feat at all. But before we head onwards to the later stages of this tournament, let's talk about what just happened by taking a look at the highlights.
Honestly, there were quite a few highlights in this game. I feel like a lot of them were, of course, Darion, and a lot of them were, of course, DXN. Both of them had incredible games here, and I think for DXN particularly, I really like his chamber. I really, really like it.
How do you see Bleed maybe switching up their lineup later on, right? Because not lineup, more as in the agent selection, right? Because I think we saw them on the defense a little bit troubled. I didn't think they had the versatility they could have had with the Omen. I think they only figured out space has to be taken by 2 players instead of 1. They could simply just rely on Chamber to take that B main control very early. How do you think them to switch? Do you think they'll be switching that on later on in the season?
I would like to. I would really like to. I think that Bleed right now, they're in terms of support network in the best possible position, and so I think I would like to see them experiment with different agent compositions because they can. I feel like having your Omen use that operator really hinders you. Don't get me wrong, it's possible, but it's not comfortable. And you look at Darion, even though he's not hitting many shots with that operator, the fact he's able to disengage so quickly makes up for that.
Really, really does. That leaves us with a very close game at the end of the day. No Namers, our hearts go out to you. Your efforts were extraordinary. Getting to overtime after such a big deficit was heartbreaking, to say the least. I'm sure you're feeling it, but if you guys are watching this right now, I say do not give up. There's a long road ahead of you, a lot more you can provide. You guys are young, you guys are strong. I'm looking forward to what you guys can provide. There's more for sure. So keep your heads high. But for Bleed, congratulations, because you're heading to VCT APAC. You're playing against your arch nemesis, Paper Rex, who so far has had the big title of being the top dogs of MYSG and APAC as a whole. But it seems legends can bleed. And yeah, maybe you can make them bleed again. Thankfully, you have a short break for that before you get to play them. Thankfully, you're able to rest up a bit, but not too big of a break, right? Paper X had more time to rest, haven't they?
On paper, we're scheduled to start that second best of three or that third best of three of the day in about 2 hours. I imagine, I'm actually fairly certain we're accelerating the schedule a little bit. We'll be able to give you another update for that sort of close to the time. But we're absolutely going to be starting before the time on before the time on the schedule.
Yeah, for sure. But for now, let's keep you entertained for a little bit longer. I think we can entertain the idea of the stats. 25% headshot. Well, I mean, why am I looking at the headshots? Really, it was closely contested all across the board. Very close game, and a lot of it came down to the clutches. There was macro play that made a difference at the end of the day, as always is on Icebox. And yeah, No Namers nearly got the better of him at the attack. I was actually surprised the attack was the strongest of the two sides by such a massive
by quite
margin.
a distance. Yeah, I feel like it's down to confidence. I think when you're on the attack, you sort of know what you're doing. Push, kill this guy, get that stage wall up, get that spike down, get off the site. It's very step by step. Whereas your defense on Icebox is very reactionary. You can't plan ahead, and so it's entirely down to they're on that site. Okay, let's do this. Let's try this. And that's when your adaptability comes into play. And for Bleed, I think that's one of their biggest weaknesses at the moment.
It really is. And it's actually very nice that I've joined MYSG today for the first time ever. I'm actually having a lot of fun. There's a lot of passion within these rosters. There's a lot of fragging capabilities. It's really cool. And they're not lacking by any means behind the other regions. Okay, maybe some macro when it comes and some micro as well. Some set pieces not as well advanced as some other teams in other regions like EMEA, for example. But who's to say that that works out more than what this region's got to bring, right? It's the fundamentals of playing this game that matters, right? If you've got set pieces that can be figured out, if you've got solid fundamentals and are able to react to the game as it goes, you can be strong. And that was proven in VCT Masters in Reykjavik just a few months ago, with Paper X making the top 4, with Zeta Division also making it into the top 3. So there is so much to give, and I can tell you from now, I love this region. This is looking really, really cool.
Something to highlight as well is right now, I would hand on heart say you put the top of this tier against any other tier, whether it be EMEA, whether it be NA. I think kind of bottom of tier 1, top of tier 2, APAC beats all other regions at that level. Like the competition here is insane. On that note, on topic of competition, our MVP going to Pith for a dominant performance on Icebox.
Very dominant.
Averaging 32 kills.
It's crazy. The fact that he had so much impact with the role he was playing is just mind-boggling to me. He actually, was considered as an anchor at times, but he's not the one you'd expect to go in and go make those flashy plays. He often was the backbone of a team and picked up the slack where it was required. And I think for Bleed Esports to get to where they've gotten to, he's been a difference maker and very, very deservedly gets the most valuable player of the match.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The only other player who I think maybe contested Pith for this position was Darion, who had a really, really strong Haven, but his Icebox just wasn't quite as good as Pith's. So that's a close second to Darion there. As we get ready for our kind of third final match of the day, Paper X versus Bleed. You know, the age-old matchup we've seen time and time again. Who do you think wins it?
You know, I've got to say Paper X, right? Because I'm going to let you go with the other, with the underdog story again, and you might stand corrected. But I've got to go for Paper X. I think they've realized the mistakes they've made. They've got to, right? And they were very small mistakes to make. I have to give it to Lace for managing to pick up that victory by the end of the day. But I don't think miracles happen twice. I don't think it happens that easily. The fact that Bleed also had some very visible mistakes. I think Paper X were definitely watching the matches that were happening right now. And I think they'll be happy to face up against Bleed because they don't look solid. There are a lot of shaky moments that they've had. So for that reason, I have to go for Paper X, but I'm sure you'll have an opposing opinion.
Something to highlight is the last 5 or 6? The last 6 times Paper X played against Bleed, they lost every single time. 2-0, 3-0, 2-0, 3-0, 2-1, 2-1. So Bleed have really struggled against Paper X. We should also highlight that out of the last 3 times, in the last 4 times, Paper X played against Bleed, I've cast Bleed losing in 3 of them. So maybe I'm their unlucky charm. I'm sorry, boys, you're stuck with me. But I'm really looking forward to seeing just what Bleed will be able to do.
Damn right. And we've got a very cool video to show you, top 5 aces of the previous weeks. Let's have a look at them. Let's have some fun.
Getting a little bit of information before going for some bold plays to see that Lenny was trying to do something, but it's all this in this moment. What? They move forward and he's just left clicks and holds.
But here comes the Rolling Thunder, an offensive one as well. Only was able to catch one, but Jay was in a corner with the Rolling Thunder didn't hit, and he sustains it all the way. Get your butt back here, boy. I won that ace, and he earned it as well. He gets it hot. That was hot.
Vera is not scared to push forward there. He gets Thanos out of the way. He doesn't care, but being vulnerable gets 2. Very aggressive plays here. Does it make it 3? Yes, it will. Make it 4, please. Let's go. No, what the heck? There we go. That's the ace.
Probably here because of the fact that they've been contesting against G and even Click at the same time. But they're going to be quickly, swiftly planting this fight. They're going to come in for it. The ice ball goes out, the time's out. Now they're dependent on the success screen. And Luka finds one. A nice right click coming in for Jaws as well. But Sumi constantly keeping them on their feet. But let's see for how long. And it's 1v1. What an ace coming in from Josh. As he says. And it looks like they're gambled, and the answer's gonna be caught fire and Piff! What in the world is happening?
Oh my god, Piff with the 4K, all with the headhunter. All he needs is one more swaps out to the ghost and gets a 5K. That's an ace for him for round number 1.
Although there was just so many awesome aces from that, I think a highlight for me is the caster reactions, and the one in the top 4 with "Get your butt back here" was just amazing for me.
Pretty sure that's Zeno, if I'm not mistaken.
Legend.
My favorite part about those highlights is the fact that Moon is in every single one of them. Either Moon is doing the ace or they're being aced. There's no between. There's like one clip where they're not there. But my heart does go out to Moon, who they get a lot of real. They do get a lot of real.
Yeah, someone's playing a lot of poker because they're seeing a lot of aces, even if they're the ones to do it. But yeah, a lot of awesome ones, a lot of cool ones, and I think we saw an ace today as well, right? Who was it that did it? A Jet on one end, I believe.
We saw 2 attempted aces, both of which were denied by teammates.
Were they all denied?
I saw 2 of them be denied.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I saw Darian get an ace. I thought I saw Darian get an ace at some point. But
probably he is Darian. It's entirely likely.
It is very likely. Yeah, you're right. We did saw a few being denied. So yeah. When was the last time you got an ace, Kremmer?
God, I've actually got a story about this.
All right.
So
let's hear it.
we'll fill for a bit. We got a story. So Oh, no, we'll go to break. Never mind.
We'll hear the story another time. If everyone's
We'll hear the
interested,
story another
I'm
time.
sure you'll make a tweet about it at some point. So yeah, let's do a break, everybody. We'll see you back after it. We'll be shortly here. You'll see the timer. Just make sure you're here.
Oh, very good maneuver there. Seeing that his back is open. And yes, Sora gets baited as well as Jason. The movements are good. He's good for 2 so far. And his fight is down. It's a 3 kill for him. Because 57 HP left. And this is on an equal round. But first thing first is that they got the plant, which is good.
Vera.
With the flick, remember. What's it called? All things considered in terms of trigger discipline.
Oh my.
But no one is coming through shot. There's 3 ways that he can look for you. They look the wrong way. Freya with those 2 taps. I was getting a free. To a Viper's pit though. Winning still possible. Exactly what I thought. More price is down. But the reason why I say it's possible is because Barry is so low. And he can
Sure, Duka will not be using that marshal anymore, but look at that. Oh my god, big value from X.
the first was actually magnificent. Hansal rather. That's a flick onto him. And Cal is going to be taken out. 1 more kill and he won't make it.
Face your fear.
That's true. I thought we isolated. I mean, this is Paper X map pick for a reason, and they play impeccably. What a shot! What a flick that was! Archer's down! And we got a stun coming out. The Prowler gets one. That means that we got the 9.
Didn't even realize that Forsaken was all the way in the back here. Neff does find 1, finds 2. Beijing gonna stop that, but Forsaken choosing not to go all the way back into Gong. He wants to clear it, but Darren is already on the spawn side here. Darren gets a 3k, but Sora says, not today, Zerg. Sora finds another pick onto Jason. But now there is one. That is the team here. Yes, head! Anashi's head just popped out just a little bit. Suddenly they're pincer Edward. And finally, 1 more kill trying to worry about. And that's a 4k for Darion. The average cuts for 30 DXN. Immediately pops 1 hit, immediately has to reposition. He didn't even teleport, did he? Immediately gets 2 as well. On top of that, they also cut the kill from Shun. Anzo finds another 1. DXN gets Anzo in. Era is not scared to push forward there. He gets Thanos out of the way. He doesn't care about being vulnerable. Gets 2. Very aggressive plays here. Does it make it 3? Yes, it will. Make it 4, please. Let's go. No, what the heck? There we go. That's the ace.
Oh my god, this is the problem. He didn't check there. Not checking Mill. Super punishing. 3 already for Kyle. And it's going to be Sumi 1.
Oh no, but they haven't checked it fully, and Sky catches off on a swing, and he gets a quad in the process as well. The screen, they only can play with poison claws here, and a good pickup on Frey. Falls up with a transition of the 2-1 Sky.
Immediately kills the back diffuser. As long as he swing up, can he get the 4?
Unbelievable.
Yes, he does. This guy, like I say,
But then again, Ping's a little bit low here. Could have also do low. Forsaken. What was that flick spray?
that is a stinger. Needs to do a lot to get things done. This is gonna be another knife. A second knife from Bankai. But Larry's just waiting right there. He's waiting. Wait, what was that?
Oh.
Bernard does not see anyone.
No
Forsaken with the double. Realizes Vera right behind the generator. Going side by side. Forsaken. What? Trying to play it quiet, but Frey does spot someone. Frey with 4. Does not know, and all he has to do is just knife and round. There's Riza with the spray and pray. Gets some damage and not quite enough to drop anything. Just said this.
No way.
Riza.
Oh.
Riza.
Still playing a little bit more slower pace. They want to see they get fired up.
Oh, the
Force it out.
collateral.
Rice. 1 shot at all.
Team. They are very aware now. Flaring on top, going up and down.
No
but
way.
for now, look at the showstopper. Josh getting 2.
Because of the fact that they've been contesting against G and even click at the
Oh my
same
God,
time.
Josh.
Ball goes out and times out. Now they're dependent on the success screen. Aduka finds 1. A nice right click coming in from Jaws as well. But Sumi constantly keeping them on their feet. But let's see for how long. And it's 1v1. What an ace coming in from Josh. As he says, who needs a blunt when you can win it all by taking them all out?
Oh, he didn't check it. Oh. He fires at the right time. It's a double. Quarter battles. Takes out the first player. Not before Heist comes in from the back, though. And Heist still lands the hooks. He goes in. He crouches. From the Hans as well. Doesn't really find one, but they know exactly where Heist is. The Mets. Wait. gonna go for a bit of a pushing bubble here. Oh, running right into Thames though. Oh my god! They're gonna have to play it so safe.
Nice stop from flaring though. Has the angle locked down.
Oh! And that's the third, looking for the fourth. First Love steals it, but Flaring's done the job. It's re-peeking. Divine, what? Oh! Double kill! And he's looking for the third. He knows Zero's on the other side because of that. Oh, drone ulti and angle shoots at the right time. Rizza down to the 1v1, or 2v1, excuse me. Brings it, but Darren swaps to the story. Oh, he's gonna repeat. No! Is it? What? Information before going for some okay to see that Lenny was trying to do something, but it's all dead in this moment. What? They push out, but then Toda takes the zip line. At least there's Spray here to play this time. He's got the operator. He's been tagged. He still gets the shot.
He's stuck in there. He has the angle, but it means nothing.
Spray. Closing out for the fourth on Arches, and that's a goal.
Unfortunately, he runs out. The paranoia. He comes out and gets a second. Almost, and he does get a first. Where did the ever come from? It doesn't matter. Easy just come by. He's too close, as well as Jing. Now you're gonna push in right now. They try to make it work, and he gets two. He gets three. The 5 massive kills coming up for him. It's a 4K.
And it's a one as well. Doesn't only was able to catch one, but Jay was at a corner with the rolling thunder, didn't hit, and he sustains it all the way. Your butt back here, boy. I won that ace, and he earns it as well.
He gets it hot. That was hot. But he just pops the Galaxy to get hold down these crosses here. Yep, Darion cannot find the hit. Vera with a double. He's gonna keep pushing up through screen, and DXN is actually crossing out with most of it for a while. Wait, this is almost an ace right now, and the ace is gotten by Vera.
Utility follow-up, but won't be able to find him in the crossfire. Jay comes in for the swing. Nice time with a flag, and Flary will be able to catch his all three, make it a 4 as he's literally pulling things hard. He might be the call, and it looks like they're gambles, and the answer's gonna be called. Quiet and Piff! What in the world is happening?
Oh my god, Pith with the 4K, all with the headhunter. All he needs is one more swaps out to the ghost and gets a 5K. That's an ace for him for round number 1. Here might be good for 1. Here comes 1 that we talked about. Javai gets 2. Will it be 3? Not quite, as he repositions himself. Right now he's stuck.
No
Where
way.
he's going? Gets
No
no
way.
And Javai ends it for peak here. But Alvin wins that one against DZ. Net from the side. Darren does that one. He's good for 2. He's good for 3. But they had to deal with crossfire from 2 different angles here. 3 for now as Darren
No
comes in
way.
the back. No, no, no! He does it!
Before he slowly pushes through, you notice he's going to be cutting a lot more closer, and a quick skull comes in, and he makes it loud. So one from shower, one from short. Aduka
Oh
gets
my
picked
God,
up as well.
DXN.
Are you kidding me?
As he's watching him from the cubby, I don't think he's gonna notice it. It's too late. We were just talking about that.
No
he
way!
missed it! And he ran out of bullets! DXN!
That's why he got the confidence. That's why he got the result.
High angle right now for now. Vera playing for the side. They don't know that he's up there. Vera gets one shot as well. And look how low Aduka is. Aduka from the side tried to overheal. Not quite enough time for now. Very beautifully done, Aduka. That off.
Oh man, here comes Kratos style, God of War, slowly backing it up, but he's leaving the charge back. He says, I have no fear, but here comes the first slice. Couple of damage, no pigs, fourth fall. Looks like the defenders are having a little bit of trouble here as they're trying to find the next picking. 2v2 left on the line. We're gonna 1v2 to make it a win, but Sally F-Guard will be the one.
On a bit. Reposition, because he can get a couple. What is this? Called him a Piff. You know what Piff is short for? Python. He's just missing the OM behind the snake as he is. Zoops in from behind, gets Thames there with the ult. Oh, not really out. He's just actually trying to flash out everyone there. He's got the... Flary's got the judge, but that blind's just, well, it basically just deafens him.
Either way, but they have enough players to actually check the respective angles. Spots one. That's one off the board of the checklist. Tally, the spray control doesn't really fully connect, and that's gonna be the end here, bringing the scoreline to 6-6. It's all Barry. I want that booty. Come back here. Well, it's on the chase on the other side. We have a classic 4v4. The fight for the stairways here towards the spike. They're trying to hold down the line. It's the battle of Thermopylae here, and the Spartans are succeeding.
We caught Super Cat K ready in time. Everyone is gonna fall to this fight here. Him down. That's quite big. But now they're trying to get to the side of South Cloudburst, trying to go for the quick ninja defuse here. Couldn't get it all the way through. He's already almost there. 110% left, and he won't succeed.
It's so good though. How's Thames that good?
Crosshair too, so anything can really happen. A lot of these are based on luck as well, but also based on instinct, right? Usually you can see where your bullet tracers go, and yeah, Maxi was having trouble trying to connect it with Piff there, but Thames, if anyone that can do it, I know it could have been Thames, but I spoke a little bit too early. Talk about Caster's Curse, and F-God finally gotten a good clutch for himself.
That Viper's bed flaring, slowly landing the mark, getting used to that centralization aim. Gets the third and the fourth to end it all here, to bring back the game once again. 9-9. 10 out of 10 for that swag point, and great attempt as well. By the way, later into the sides, he already dive as much as possible. Sadly, the spray line doesn't really connect as much as or as well as Piff as he sprays them all down mercilessly like Vandals. He only knows one, but what about the second one though? He can try to fake. Does he commit? Looks like they know it's a fake for sure. He pushes forward, he spots two, and casually picks up the rest.
And the best part is he's actually got the defuse. What a player it is!
But yeah, it's coming back to the game for them. Now they are sort of two lead men in the lead. A couple of trades are happening across the board here, but they are staggered, they are blind. But still, Maxi still makes it work despite the disparity he was in either way. He has still the blade, but Pep once again sends them all to the abyss. They still have their another duelist, of course, with the best flash in the game as well. But they really need a Maxi to sort of set the pace and set the position as well. Sprays are connected, but Xufei still makes it well. But sadly, she's gonna stay around for too long to keep the game going. But the lineup set so perfectly, and Sky is all across the board here. Go through it. It's Cloud9.
Man, not just about Sky. It was.
Here we go. The games are back here. Mine is the basic soldier. Yours is the 360. They need to do a 360. Where's the 360?
Come on, SF God, Xufei, you gotta do it.
Yeah, she's trying to do it. She's
360, she tried.
You gotta need higher set for this one though. It's all marshals, and it worked out pretty well because this is only like.
Oh, you got it.
That's F-God. We've won, but not before being traded out as well.
Where's the B side? Because they know they're not really set up for it, and now they're being punished hard. Now, this is the part where Mirror Earth says it's us, our turn to return the favor, but they're just landing shots after shots, you know, Viper.
Yeah, I love it though. He caught Xufei trying to do this rotation while she's actually turning. The Tommy is showing out.
We have seen it! What? We have come down 4K, ladies and gents!
Okay, Molly.
You guys, Tommy!
Bro, Tommy is turning in all directions.
He shot it as you were turning.
After this, there's not gonna be enough time. Look at that. You just need a tunnel vision. The Marshal is so good, especially when you're on the defense. That ain't fair. Life ain't fair.
Yeah, life ain't fair though. You gotta do that 360. Sky gets one, misses it again. Maxi is pushing all the way in, having absolutely no mercy. Super Cat K through the 360, trying to go with the Spectre, but Maxi is
Last challenge here, ladies and gents. Mine's gonna be arrow to the knee.
and W. But then again, Piff is just landing shots after shots though, shutting them all down. Seeker's gonna be pushing out as well, but at the same time, they're just holding W, and the Seeker just hit right on time. Because if that Seeker didn't hit and then blind him out, that would have been so detrimental for Mirror Team, who was just literally right around the corner. Now they're currently crawling into the site. They are feeling it. They are feeling livid as they crawl their way to victory here. And Xufei here only can press W all the way.
Oh, she got her gun barrel was spotted through that wall.
They bind themselves here.
does spot out the outdraw, but Tommy finds a hit, gets rid of his counterpart here, and feeling absolutely great. Gets the second one, but he knows someone's coming at the back of the side. He gets the quad here. He's playing a little bit smart and he's trying to flank from the sideline. Gets the 2K, but Josh is coming out to a 1v3.
They're trying to give it to him. That is, he's giving it here, and yes, he gets it.
Getting a little bit of information before going for some full play. See that Lenny was trying to do something, but it's all this in this moment. What? They move forward and he's just left clicks and holds.
But here comes the Rolling Thunder, an offensive one as well. Doesn't only was able to catch one, but Jay was in the corner with the Rolling Thunder didn't hit, and he sustains it all the way. Get your butt back here, boy. I won that ace, and he earns it as well.
He gets it hard. That was hot.
Vera is not scared to push forward there. He gets Thanos out of the way. He doesn't care, but Be Vulnerable gets 2. Very aggressive plays here. Does he make it 3? Yes, he will. Make it 4, please. Let's go. No, what the heck? There we go. That's the ace.
Probably here because of the fact that they've been contesting against G and even Click at the same time. But what they're going to be quickly, swiftly planting this fight. They're going to come in for it. The ice ball goes out, the time's out. Now they're dependent on the success screen. Aduka finds one. A nice right click coming in for Jaws as well. But Sumi constantly keeping things, keeping them on their feet. But let's see for how long. And it's 1v1. What an ace coming in from Josh as he says. And it looks like they're gambled, and the answer's gonna be caught. Fire it, Piff! What in the world is happening?
Oh my god, Pith with the 4K, all with the headhunter. All he needs is one more swap out to the ghost and gets a 5K. That's an ace for him for round number 1.
team members moving in so quickly. Listen to the absolute symphony of footsteps. Now you have to move away and move into Leonard. The Lions strike with his Frey, and Frey continues to play. Could it be the pistol?
Because if they rush back into him and if he doesn't find those strikes, that could be painful, but he finds every single one of them. Are you kidding me? Forsaken.
Welcome once again to VCT Malaysia Playoffs Day 3, where myself, Pavlos, also known as Xwarrior, and Chroma are taking you through the action for the final 2 days of competition. We've said goodbye to one team today, and we've got our 3 teams that will already be qualifying to VCT APAC. But now we've got a final frontier. Try and see who will be our last finalist. Crema, how excited are you about this one?
I can't wait. We've got a matchup that has happened time and time again. We've got Bleed, who have, let's be honest, sort of limped their way into this final match after a very close game against No Namers. Icebox going a little bit further than they probably would have wanted. And Paper Rex, who I don't think anyone was expecting to see in the lower bracket after Lays were able to beat them 2-1. Where did that come from, Pavlos? Now Paper Rex, we're going to have to see what they're like. Now they've been sent really from a loss, and that, for me, is going to be the most interesting thing to see here.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of interesting results, and here you can see them on your screens as well as we look at both of the upper and lower brackets. All of the semi-finals will be completed in that way, and we've only got the lower bracket grand final to kind of come underway. So as you said, Paper X versus Bleed will be that matchup. Yep. And considering the fact that we already have Lays in the grand finals really makes me excited about what is to come. Paper X, I can imagine, are your favorites, but could you give me just can you say it within a sentence? What can we expect from this matchup?
For me, it's going to be Paper Rex looking to respond, having lost a game against Lays. For Bleed, it's their chance to take revengeance. They're going to try and do unto Paper Rex what has already been done before. For Bleed, maybe the 7th time is the charm. Maybe it's the 7th time that they play against Paper Rex. They might finally be able to beat them. Their game against No Namers was by all means not perfect, but neither was Paper Rex. So we need to see who's been able to recuperate and who's been able to regather their forces for what is going to be one final push to try and get to these grand finals.
Who will come out on top in the final of the lower bracket, Paper X or Bleed? Both teams of which are very much looking at that top spot in competition. Bleed, can they hit Paper X while they're down, or can Paper X take over Bleed for yet another time? Crema, we're in for a treat, and everybody else watching at home, I'm sure you've been awaiting for this matchup. Paper X is probably not a team you expected to be in the lower bracket, and also Bleed, you didn't expect them to win in the fashion that they did up against No Namers, knowing how strong they have been contending up against them so far. But I think now we can talk about things team specific. First up, I believe we'll be talking about Bleed. So what could you tell me about this team right now?
Bleed right now, have been second best in NYSG for so long. They've just not been able to usurp Paper Rex, but this could be that time. Paper Rex aren't playing, the best Valorant they've ever played, and that could be something Bleed could punish. Remember, we currently have a stand-in. Alti is playing instead of Lexi. So you look at the Bleed lineup now. It's Darion, Lenny, Alti, Maxi, and Pith. Now, Pith and Darion just had an incredible series. If they can do it again here, then they could really give Paper Rex a run for their money. But what I'm looking for from Bleed right now is consistency.
Yeah, a lot of risk has been taken from Pith and Max as well, coming over from EU to play over here in VCT APAC, in this region in particular. And obviously, given that their spot isn't guaranteed, well, now it is, but it's still quite a risk to make, considering that, you know, Pith has played his fair share of time in G2. I know it was just for a few months, but there was faith in him to do well there. Didn't quite work out in the end. You have your Maxi, who has gotten a lot of experience now, the IGL of this roster, bringing in sort of European mentalities to the game of how you want to approach it. We've kind of seen this a little bit from the rosters they've been able to bring out, from the compositions they've been bringing to the table, which is kind of what we want to see more of. But the fact that they have heavy hitters like Darion is why they're able to come out of sticky situations and often on top, which is what makes this team exciting. But without any further ado, let's look at their composition for today. Paper Rex, Chroma. Talk to me about them. I know everybody probably knows about them already, but tell me.
What isn't there to say when it comes to Paper Rex? Yeah, Benkai, Divide, Forsaken, Jing, Mindfreak. It's a roster that has been together for a while now, and they have been able to perform together, placing top 4 at Masters. For me, that is a title which is just insane. Now in MISG, the fact they're even in the lower bracket is kind of incomprehensible. Like, if we went into this bracket and you look at these sort of pick'ems that people put before playoffs even started, every single player expects, every single person who did their pick'ems predicted Paper Rex would go to the finals, and it would be who can beat Paper Rex to the finals. There's no other time in which they've really met, and even in the group stage of this tournament, Paper Rex, I believe, have been able to avoid Bleed for the most part. The last time they played against each other was... actually, they have played against each other in this tournament. Paper Rex won it 2-1, but this was earlier in the group stage. And the main maps that really took the cake for me was Bind, which Paper Rex were able to win, I think, 13-3. They really were able to dominate against Bleed. That did go to all 3 maps, though, with Breeze being our decider. And as we saw, you know, Breeze for Bleed is a pretty good map. Paper Rex was still able to win that, the 13-8. They were able to reverse sweep Bleed with the opening map of Icebox. Considering how shaky Bleed were on Icebox just now, I doubt we'll see it in our veto again.
Yeah, it could be a different complete 3-mapper affair when it comes to this matchup, but we've seen Paper Rex bleed, no pun intended. We've seen them drop a map early against Lays, and Bleed have been able to take a map off of them early on in the season, just like you said. So this is not set in stone at all. Paper Rex are considered the favorites, but we've seen that they have an Achilles heel. So far, we've seen that Lays has found it, but whether Bleed can do that as well in this very short amount of time, will have to show for it. But also, you have to consider what Paper Rex can kind of adjust for the past few hours, right? Because while Bleed was playing their best of 3, Paper Rex was able to prepare. But let's have a look at what we'll be looking at in this particular matchup. There are 2 players that come to mind when you sort of think about firepower, and that is Darion and Forsaken.
Understandably so. Understandably so. Darion and Forsaken, both the Jet players for their team. And you look at the ACS and particularly their sort of damage per rounds, they're relatively close, but Forsaken just inches ahead, particularly on headshot percentage. You know, Darion, he's consistent, but we don't see the flashy plays that we see from Forsaken. Yeah, when it comes to this Paper Rex roster, it's just pure, unadulterated talent. And when you mix Forsaken and Jing, sometimes even with Divide, you get a lethal concoction. One which Lays was actually able to beat, which again is just incredible. You've really got to highlight the prowess that we were able to see from the members of Lays to actually beat Paper Rex. But will Paper Rex allow themselves to lose twice in one day? I really doubt it.
Yeah, it's a very rare occurrence to see them lose in general in IMSG. So losing twice in one day is not great. Although every team has their bad days. Every team doesn't have. You can't win forever, right? That's how it is here in Valor. That's how it is in competition in general. So this is what's interesting about this. Is this a day they can recover from, or will they be seeing the same downhill of returns? But heading into sort of this veto, we've already kind of alluded to their previous history playing with each other. But coming into this one, any expectations, Chroma? Is there something you'd like to see other than the rest?
I would like to see an Icebox. I want to see if Bleed are able to recover it. I doubt we will. But we're going to take a look at the veto. Of course, Bide instantly being taken out by Bleed. There are no surprises whatsoever after the 33 defeat they had in the group stage. Paper X removing Icebox is kind of surprising. It definitely opens up the door to the likes of Fracture and Breeze. And I think for Paper X, I think the kind of newer maps are going to be where they're listing. For Bleed, their opening map, there's a lot of choice here. Going for the Ascent, a map both teams are very bloody good at, so no real sort of surprises there. But I'm really interested to see if we see the likes of Breeze and Fracture. I think they're, let's say they're maps which definitely favor Paper X here.
I love that Bleeder to going for Ascent as well. That's a map where I think Paper X was showed some weaknesses on earlier, so that's looking to be exploited. We're getting our first Fracture of the day, which I do love. A completely different dynamic, and Paper X may have something prepared in that way. So we're just waiting to see the final and third one. But what do you feel about Fracture?
I quite like Fracture for Paper X. Definitely complements the play style that's quite aim heavy. The rotation times are quite long, so you really have to have some individual performances. Something which Paper X really excel at. Over on Bleed, though, you know, sort of they've been experimenting. Yeah, they have a huge support network. They do have a mastermind as the head coach. So the likes of seeing, the chances of seeing some kind of new strategies of potentially the likes of Neon on Fracture, we've seen quite a bit. So there's a world here where Paper X might bring up something unorthodox for Fracture. Same for Bleed, actually. So Fracture for me is going to be the most interesting map out of these three. Sort of looking at it, though, knee-jerk reaction says 2-0 Paper X, but I would love to see a Bleed upset. Love to see a Bleed upset. I was about to ask you, right, like, what are the chances of Paper X closing this out in 2-0? And you said it, like, the greatest chances is that they actually do that, right? Yes, they showed a couple of weaknesses at the start of Ascent, but the rest of it was snowbally, right? Their aggression. It seems like Bleed maybe have an idea of how they can play up against that, which I like. They're not really falling victims to the idea of being scared about it, but Fracture also being in the mix. Bleed are going to have a tough time, man. And what would you say is their win condition in this series? Darion needs to be on fire. If Darion and Pith are really hitting their shots, if Alti can sort of wake up a bit on the Sage as well, then there's a very winnable game here for Bleed. I'm still gassed at the fact I predicted Lays to actually beat Paper X, so I think any prediction I say from here on out doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. But you know what? Sod it. Go on. Yeah, let's see a Bleed upset. 2-1 Bleed. 2-1 Bleed. Okay, I'm gonna go for 2-0 Paper X. Losing twice just doesn't hit right. Just something. Maybe I'll be wrong again. Maybe I'll be mistaken. Because there is. Yeah. Oh god, there is someone I want to sort of mention. It's the fact that Ferrari 6K, I think their name is Ferrari 6K, is Jing's mum, and she is in every single game I've cast the Paper X. It's nuts. Like the support she gets from Sal is actually heartwarming. You know what's even better as well? It's now every like NYSG fan like just refers to her as auntie. She's like the auntie of every player, every viewer sort of in NYSG. So Ferrari, we see you, we appreciate you, and I think it's amazing that you're supporting Jing, who is, let's be honest, probably one of the best players in the region now. So yeah, very much so. And it's good to see this gap between generations sort of being breached like this, because it's so difficult to tell my parents what I do, right? And I can imagine it's very similar for players, right? Growing up and kind of saying, I've got a chance in esports, and your parents are probably like, what's that? No. Go to university. Go study. Go be a doctor. Go be a doctor. Like exactly. Like I've had that. I've had that. So it's very difficult to kind of get your parents to understand, because it is a difficult road. It is a difficult road. But once you've made it, like a lot of these players we're looking at today, once you're at the top of your region, you can't hold back. You have to go for glory. And a lot of these players are very capable of that. Well, sure. It took me actually bringing my parents to an event in order to convince them. It really took a while, so even more so, Ferrari, we appreciate you. We do appreciate you. We should be able to get in game any second now. In terms of composition, are you expecting to see the likes of sort of Neon fades? Do you want to see the likes of Neon fade? Bear in mind, this is an elimination match, so yes, while teams are qualified, they're playing for seeding here. Is this the time to bring out something unorthodox? We've got Haven first, right? No, Ascent, Fracture, Haven. Ascent, Fracture, right, right, Ascent first.
Fade. Will we see it? I'm not sure. I know. I think we may see something similar from Paper Rex when it comes to Ascent. We may be seeing like a KO Fade lineup together with a Raze, etc. Chamber Astra. They're really strong with it. I don't see a reason why they should change it. They should definitely stick together with that. If we do see a difference, I think we may be seeing it from Bleed. But for this particular one, we won't be seeing any on. We'll be seeing switch ups maybe in Fracture and stuff. That is a different frontier that I think we should be looking at further on. But what about you? What are your thoughts on the agents right now?
Before I bring up the agents, so to quickly update you guys, lobby isn't ready, so we're gonna have to wait a few minutes. We'll be like a minute or two more, so I do apologize for the delay. Fortunately, we can't help it. The big red cast the start game button, both of us have lost it, so we've got a reliable production now. That being said, I think that for me, I think both of these teams have really embraced Neon, KO, sorry, and so I'm expecting KOs in almost all of these maps. What I would like to see, particularly on Fracture, is the Breach Brimstone combo. And I would rather see that more than the newer agents, because for me, using existing utility in a different way can usually actually make up and mitigate the fact that there's a new agent.
So the difference why you'd been Brimstone in instead of the Omen is the instantaneous release of your Sky Smokes, also sort of your post-plant utilities, sort of helping out with lineups, etc. But that's provided you're able to stay alive until then. So that's kind of the difference why we see a Brimstone in this. But the controllers that these teams play on Ascent are either Omen or Astra, right? Astra on the Paper Rex side, Omen for the Bleed side, and they both have different uses, right? Kind of the Astra being used together with the rest of the team to kind of prohibit movement, fragment, also a very good usage of it. So that's kind of where the combo lies generally. So. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's a very sort of straightforward approach together with the Steam Beacon just to rush into the site. It makes sense to a level, but I don't think it's what Paper X really want to do, because they want to be able to aggress, play in their opponents' faces, and have plenty of utility to do that over and over again. And I think having the Omen or the Astra in that position just enables that even better.
Absolutely, and something I want to highlight actually is you look at the Paper X lineup, you look at particularly the ACS. Usually, when you, at least previously, when you would look at teams like Bleed, for instance, you'd have Darion and Pith, sometimes Maxi as well, really spearheading the ACS, and then everyone else sort of lacks behind. Over on Paper Rex, it is consistent. Everyone boasts a high ACS. You can see it here, you know, Forsaken and Jing kind of 1 and 3 in ACS. Like, these guys are bloody good. I also quite like seeing Aduka there. He's a sort of up-and-coming duelist at the moment, so glad he's there.
Glad he's there, obviously. Yeah. It's good to see generally to have all teammates sort of performing to this level. Often you kind of have the duelists just perform over everybody else without any difference. So yeah, it's good to kind of see this this whole leaderboard sort of take place and being all sort of roles as well. So Crema, I know, yeah, there is some time we're trying to fill in right now. I know everybody has realized this. Yeah, I'm kind of hiding the button here. You can't see it because it's invisible, only visible to casters, and I'm not pressing it because I just want to annoy you guys because I just love doing that. But yeah,
while we are filling, I was say, do you want to hear the last days I got? I had that story prepped and ready for when we have it.
Yes, yeah, we were waiting for that story.
The last days I got was at a event in Bulgaria. Now, this was a fun little game we played, which was production versus casters. And during that game, it was LAN. So LAN in the UK, it's tradition you proper scream at your opponents. Like you really abuse them. And so we won a round. I aced them, and at the top of my voice, like shouted at the other guys, you know, like you're terrible, just in a bit worse language. And it turned out the guy I was abusing, he was a good friend of mine. He'd actually got away from his PC, and he'd allowed one of this like 13-year-old boy from the audience to take his PC. And I just screamed abuse at him. And it took like 3 months to get over the guilt, and I was just mortified. Since then, never aced. That was yeah, that was a that was a dire experience. Let's look at the age of selects.
Oh my god, yeah, let's. Yeah, okay. Well, on the Paper X side, exactly how they play it. On the Bleed side, exactly how they play it. So yeah, no differences here, as expected, really. So when you look at these compositions, what do you think playstyle-wise we can expect from the two teams?
I'm expecting to see some serious aggression from Paper Rex here. You know, with the KO, with the Astra, you have a lot of setup for your raise. So I'm really looking forward to seeing sort of how that is going to work with each other. Let's head into game though. No more hypothesizing. Let's just see how it works. Over on Bleed, I quite like how there's quite a bit of info gather here, particularly with the KO dagger and the Sova. So I'm expecting Bleed to have quite a defensive setup and then really be primed for retakes here. Getting underway though, we're going to be having Bleed on their attack, set up with a fairly heavy list over to A, with a lurking Omen in the form of Maxi still in their spawn.
Starting things off, we love to see it. Paintshaw's very early. Oh, a lot of damage to be found. Not too bad of a start. Bleed, the attack will sustain their position, not hiding away. Is Maxi just hiding out for rotations? It does look like it, right? There's no way he's AFK. Yeah, he's hiding out for rotations. Yeah.
And so as Bleed start slowly sort of encroaching their way to the safe site, they are running into a stack here and a very kind of point-blank crossfire from Paper Rex here. They really want to take a fight, and they really want to take it soon as well. Minute on the clock, Bleed, they've made their presence known, but they've not been able to do anything with it as of yet.
Yeah, fairly slow stuff from them. Now just go for a peek. That's information at least. They know to stick around. With a dagger used from Pyth as well. Clearing out Wine Cubby. But they use a shock dart, they use a fragment drive for that. Which means they don't have too much left. Only one flash drive from Pyth to allow them to push to forwards. Out it forwards, backing away from it. Jing also finds a kill. Paper Rex seem to be in command. Forsaken! Oh, brutalizing them. This is not as fair at all. Paper Rex just put them to their graves as quickly as that and take home first blood.
Really, really strong round for Paper Rex, and here's the thing. Once they identified that Bleed were looking to hit the safe site, they actually didn't continue probing for info. They heard the boombot get destroyed, they don't commit the KO dagger, they just sit back, they wait, they know the attack's coming, so they just get a crossfire. They sort of silently set up a trap there. Really, really nice reaction to info, and better still, their reaction to info is something that Bleed can't read. So for Bleed, they have no way to identify if that was just a lucky guess for Paper Rex or if they have a good cue onto what's happening here.
Yeah, Paper Rex, though, of course, won't be greeted with too much firepower this time around. Pistols for the Bleed side. I'd be very surprised if they got anything done. We've seen a few surprising games so far. So, yeah, just expect the unexpected. But for now, Kremer, this leaves a space to talk about Paper Rex and their journey to the lower bracket. Ascent was the first map they played the previous series as well, but they were able to win it. Although the start didn't look great. I believe they were down 5-1 at some point.
Yeah,
maybe even 5-0. It took a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, it really did. Forsaken now, also kind of wary of the fact that mid control's been lost. Only a headhunter to stop the attack, so it's more an info gather from him there. So Paper Rex realized this assault to B is going to be fairly hard to stop.
I still think these players is exactly what Bleed want to do, and they've already found one, so there's reason to believe they've got a good chance here, knowing that there's someone kind of keeping them busy towards spawn. It is a spike, and Device being such a massive thorn. So difficult to deal with him. That's a quadra, that's a quick cleanup, and Paper Rex just mark themselves above.
Did he do all of that in one mag? That was like 3 bullets per player, all headshots. That was incredible. And here's the thing, that wasn't anything spectacular. He just lets him go to his crosshair. But the talent of Paper Rex is the fact that they're able to make it look so damn easy. You see, this just alternates player to player. Like that's one of the most casual things he's ever done. But it's still just a 4K that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, just casually clicking heads. That's all we have to do. That's the key to success in Valorant, isn't it? Pretty sure why I'm stuck in Gold 3.
Oh, I feel that bad.
Oh, okay. Dagger on both ends. Revelations only for the defenders. Single defender for towards the B side, though. Bleed may have the best read they could possibly have.
Well, it may be a good read. Can they actually stop it? Devi already in a very close angle, ready to crossfire with Forsaken. There's the peak, there's the opening, but instantly, look how quick Mindfreak's reaction was there. That's allowed Forsaken to just get into a better position, to hunker down and get ready to stop him.
Good rotation from Paper Rex, reading it fine so far, but they've left the mid open. No piece of utility to reveal that either. That's kind of the weakness of this comp. Having a Killjoy may allow you to put an alarm bot there or something. Have an extra player without forcing off your position, without taking too many risks. I think Bleed have realized the potential. Now towards that A site. Spotted. Paint shot's thrown at them. Maybe to soften them up a little bit, but they're running out of time. Oh dear, Brawler just sent right after them. Jing and Mindfreak, the first to find the shots. Paper Rex, they're going to make this difficult for them. Not really allowing them to cross forwards. Only one left towards the ace site. Can he deny it in time? Mindfreak, he's known for these clutches. He's known to be able to stop them down, and he will. All they have to do now is hide. Devi shouldn't peek at all because they just win the round by barely even surviving. Finding the final play as well. What a round for Paper Rex.
Nicking the final player as well means that Bleed, they lose that entire investment. And it's down to pistols once again. Paper Rex, they bring out the Vandals. It's a huge power spike for Paper Rex here. And for Bleed, it's going to leave a fairly sour taste in their mouths. I really like the rotation there from Forsaken to get back to Generator. Just sort of swan dives from heaven to get there. Realizing that even if he dies, the time he's bought makes it worthwhile. You see Mindfreak is able to play off his teammate there. There's more than enough. Well, there isn't any time left. Instant win. Paper Rex going to once again try and defend the safe site. Early usage of the paint shells from Jing is going to be able to do a bit of early harassment damage, but nothing too significant yet.
Yeah, Tour de Force will be quick to be initialized here, not to take any chances. Although the rest of the team doesn't have too much follow-up, which is a little bit hurtful, not gonna lie. Bleed would have wished they had something more in the bag in store for their opponents, but no. It's actually fairly aggressive from Jing. Takes a trade on the most dangerous weapon taken out of the equation. And it's not a weapon that can be picked up. No, that's an ultimate. You can't bring that back. One-sided smoke, but they push through it nonetheless. They shouldn't be, though. Ooh. And that will cost 2 players. Bleed are making their opponents as Bleed right now.
Forsaken is already in position for a flank, so Bleed is trapped here. It's just a matter of making it costly.
Brawler's also cleared off one of these corners. They know exactly where the final player lies, and just like that, only dropping 2 players, Paper Rex get the dub.
4-0 Bleed, they move into a reinvestment. Now, this could be their chance to at least put themselves on the board here, but you need to remember, Jing's waking up, Devi's waking up. Devi gets a die as well. In terms of ult management as well, Jing already with a showstopper means that the kind of stopping power on Paper Rex now is really taking a spike, and over on Bleed, yeah, Lenny's Darion kind of one away from their ults. Yes, they're one away, but they've not got them yet. It's a tour de force and showstopper that I really want to see some usage of here, because the longer you hold on to that ult, the less effective it is. There's the usage of that showstopper. Jing gets an opening and almost gets away as well.
That Devi flash was very important. Just not enough time for Jing to kind of move away into the corner. So very close of a free kill, but instead it's just a singular trade.
Just backs off for now. Flashes in, and it's a slow land grab at the moment from Bleed. They'll be fairly fastidious about this, and the Paper Rex, realizing that 4v4 does usually favor the attacking side, of start to be a little bit more passive and allowing Devi to get a bit of freedom in mid here. Realizing the push is coming, Paper Rex now know it's a hit to B, but can they stop it is going to be the key factor here.
Well, the fact that Devi has made it all the way around mid. If the rest of the build are able to buy time, this could be Devi's chance to shine. Knowing that Pith is crossed, is relayed the information, shoots his bullets, and finally able to find the kill. Paper Rex still on top, though. And that is the important part. Maxi trying to switch the script, but Benkai, look at this. He's being a sneaky man, and they've got no clue. Benkai, oh, Oh, Mind Freak will keep them busy. And we're down to a duel. Prowler to the far end in search of Leonard. Going for the pump, but denied by Benkai. 5-0 for PRX. They look unstoppable.
What's really interesting for me is how selfless the VRX players are. There's no like self-preservation whatsoever. If it means making the round winnable, they will suicide. And even there, we saw the flanker Devi, rather than sort of baiting his teammates a bit and lining up what could be the perfect sort of trigger discipline play, instantly fights the first player. It keeps his teammates safe from that left flank, and they can focus on B main. Really, really strong stuff, and I love the decision-making we see from Paper Rex. Over on Bleed, we see a timeout, understandably so. You know, you're 5-0 down. This is the elimination match. You need some momentum. You need it quickly. Pistols are going to be coming out. You know, we have seen that, particularly Lenny can do quite a bit with these sheriffs. This is accompanied by a Blade Storm on Darion, so there is still some firepower here, but that's via abilities, not via weaponry, which is where Paper Rex have been sort of wielding a very cruel scythe when it comes to economy.
Just as a reminder, and also to put caution to the wind and to question Bleed, last time they played it up against Paper X on Ascent, they lost 13-6.
Better than the 13-3 they had on Blind.
13-6 is the last time I see they played it up against Paper X.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable. Maybe they had something planned. Maybe we're going to see something new on their defense. Bearing in mind, their agent composition does favor their defense. So Paper X do need to try and get as many rounds as possible here. But in terms of actually trying to make a foundation to come back on, they do still need kind of 2 or 3 rounds here. Something which Paper X, if they continue with this momentum, will actually prevent from happening.
Thing is with Ascent is that I'd argue it'd be fairly equal-sided.
I love how Paper X read it will be mid control as well. Yes, they use a player, but there's already 2 others ready to trade.
Jing, now, ready and waiting. Flash drives, thrown out, delaying it. That stops the tempo from Bleed building up. Alte close by, the trade comes through with a blaze, but here comes the push. Alte able to shoot down, the only Vandal in the equation for Bleed, able to find some damage. Jing not quite ready for it, but still able to shoot bullets. Darion jumps up from on top, and Mindfreak shuts him down, and time still very closely contested. Maxi finds a kill and is able to res Pyth as well. Vandals to be found. Devi all to himself, goes for the push. He knows one is isolated. Spray down across, Marshall shot, has to go for the classic, gets it, and now it's a one-on-one, Crema.
Low HP on Devi, but that is nothing compared to the mere 5 HP Maxi wields right now. A single bullet is what separates Maxi from this plane of existence and a very cold grave. Maybe even a shallow grave if Devi's the one to have to dig it.
Spike is planted in the middle as well. There's no way of knowing where he's hiding out. Is it main? Is it heaven? He's got no clue, which is a dangerous pass. Okay, now he knows, but he gets the pre-fire out in time. Maxi, he peeks it, and he's probably banging his head on his desk right now because he regrets it.
I tell you what, vision doesn't matter. Devi, he works. Sense of smell, that's all he needs. Paper Rex 6-0. Bleed now with Bleed with a really big round deficits come back from Devi. What I love as well is that after that first kill, he knew he won this. Like, after being able to BM with a classic, that's a 1 clutch. And, well, you forget, if you have to teleport, Devi still has your scent, and he smells fear. He thrives on fear. Paper Rex 6-0 in the lead.
Under any normal circumstances, that round would have been worth for Bleed because they started off with pistols. But this one looks a lot like they've only got pistols. He's just leveled up. He just stepped up to the plate and decided, okay, I'm getting kills right now. He even pre-fires positions. This is just crazy. Give him more. Give him more. He wants it. He's thirsty. And he just replenished his thirst. PRX on 7, Bleed on 0.
The fact that knife kill was a very genuine option for Jing there. It sort of shows you the state to which Paper Rex are in right now. They're at a stage where they're so confident they can take these fights in mid. Remember, Pavlos, this was against a full buy. Bleed had weapons there, not pistols, and Jing makes it look like they're on classics without armor. That's how bloody good this guy is. And it gets even better. When Jing fails, Devi's there. When Devi fails, Forsaken's there. Forsaken teleports out, uses that callback after missing the initial operator shots. But Bleed, it doesn't matter. The 5-man commitment to being made. Even though he misses, the time he's bought for the rotations is perfect.
Zero risk comp, I love it still though. They're eager to go in aggressive, but it's not paying dividends. They're already down in numbers. 2 players that's hiding out onto the side. Pyth can't read the player to the left of him, and that is how he will fall. Benkai gets it done. As simple as they come, making their death as quick as possible, getting them out of their misery. 8 for PRX, unrelentless.
8-0, and for Bleed now, this is where something needs to change. They've already used their timeout they have lost, and it didn't help for Nout. They're left now with pistols, and what I would actually really like to see from Bleed is sit in spawn with these pistols. Use this round as a timeout, because right now, everything you're doing is just feeding Paper Rex momentum.
Cover going out.
Oh, man. Oh, no!
Oh,
why does he make it look so easy? It shouldn't be that easy.
I don't know what to say. Maxi, vulnerable, suppressed, marked. Any more debuffs to him, and it'd be nothing but a useless husk of a human. Lenny is able to trade, though.
They're actually not supposed to do that, and it's costing them. Equal trade is not what you're looking for, but the fact that Darion falls here keeps it simple for them. I don't think the Vandal has been able to be collected by Lenny. So, oh, maybe now that he's pushed up a little bit further. But it seems that PRX have got the right idea. Forsaken misses the first shot, but he'll hold that line nonetheless. He doesn't care. Doesn't mind. Recon to be thrown, especially with Mind Freak. It's got a backstab. Makes it look clean. 2 bullets to the sides of the 2 heads. Bleed, I think you've taken the wrong turn somewhere. This doesn't look right.
Yeah, it's honestly, it feels like right now, Bleed, they're trying to get gravel out of a fondue. Like, it's not happening, and it won't taste very nice once you've done it either. Like, Paper Rex, everything that Bleed have attempted, Paper Rex have a solution for. And I really want to highlight, you mentioned how it's, the wrong place to peek into pistols like that. It absolutely is. But if you're 9-0 up, if you have all the money in the world, if your opponent's on a full buy next round, you might as well use it as a chance to build some momentum.
Might as well. Flash drive.
What a flash! What a flash!
Imagine if he would have gotten away with a third. Well, 2 are good enough. Let me tell you that much. Spike out into the open. Jing knows of this. Ooh, Forsaken! The cojones to go that far.
No spike control.
Exactly. That's all you need.
Here.
I actually don't know what you do if you're Bleed right now. You're being outclassed on such a categoric level, such a fundamental level, that you need someone to wake up, and you need a hero, and you need them fast.
You start to pray. When things seem no longer under your control, you look for deities to help you out.
Look at Jing, the aggression. It's just nuts. Altair reveals himself. Jing takes a little bit of damage.
I think they just realized they might have stumbled a bit here because Jing is low. Okay, they peek simultaneously from both angles and get it done, but I don't remember the last time I've seen a 10-0.
Can we appreciate how this flash from Devi, he had no info on it, none at all. That was game sense, and he just happens to blind 4 players, killing 2 of them. It's insane. And this is, right now, Bleed, they've sort of, they've hoped to pick a map Paper Rex wouldn't be very good on, but right now you're in Paper Rex's playgrounds, and, you ain't getting the sandpit for a while. Paper Rex now looking to respond to the default of Bleed. Tour de Force does come out to try and assist, but you look at the economy, you look at the buy of Bleed, Guardians, Ares, Sheriffs, Tour de Forces. It's not a buy you want, particularly when you're 10-0 down.
When, if you're Bleed, do you start to think you can go next? Is this already now? The fact that is this Force showing that?
we're getting close. We're getting very close. Devi getting aggressive in mid. I mean, frankly, this is actually quite passive by Devi standards.
Oh, gets away with one.
Anyway.
No way, he gets another. No way!
Oh my!
Making it look like a walk in the park, and he even runs away with a third. Not even dead yet. Give him the ace! Give him the freaking ace! Flashing, searching for it, lurking for it. RT only has 2 points of health remaining. Devi is just gonna wallbang everything he can see in front of him. Realizes he's not that close. He's going for a run. He's going for a search. Oh my god! Devi!
Behave
what a way
yourself.
to get an 11th round on the board.
What was that? He just decimates Bleed. There were talks of an upset, Pavlos. I doubted Paper Rex. I'm gonna look to the skies after this and just call I'm sorry, Paper Rex. I didn't mean to doubt you. Please. They have a pretty good buy for the final round of the half. Darion has a blade storm, so they can drop to a sheriff. And, there is a few Vandals in the mix. They do have an ult advantage on Paper Rex here. But is that enough?
Oh no! That does not look a lot like Darion, does it? That does not look a lot like him. Missing a point blank right click like that. Oh, the nerves are getting to them. But I think this is the best status we've seen him in before. 3 against 3 on the post plant. Locking through positions. How much can Paper Rex reveal this? Oh, Maxi's got an away with this. Oh, never mind. Scratch that thought. I'll tell you all that remains, but not for long. Call the medic, because I think Bleed are bleeding.
The only thing that gets away here is your soul. And that's only a matter of time before one of the Paper Rex players come for that as well. Like, Bleed, the half switch, 12-0 scoreline. I was preparing for quite a long series, but Paper Rex have decided enough's enough. Look at that from Benkai. Oh my god. Devi currently going 20-4, Jing 14-8. Bleed have had no one has been able to match or even come close to the stardom performance we've seen from Devi. And even when Devi isn't doing great when it comes to aim, his flash usage is perfect. Look at the stack from Bleed. Look at the position of Paper Rex. Oh no.
One pistol win will decide if this is a 13-0 or not. And Bleed have got the wrong idea. Well, they've pushed through already, but when does a commit come in from the PRX side? No one's defending it. Literally no one is defending it. This is free reign for them to take control of. They'll get the spike down. It's a 5 versus 5 retake. They don't check the corner, but the shots are missed. No, he's got assistance. The Dink is found. The rest of them, they're taking the fight. 3 players remaining. They can't hold on. Jing is going for them. He can smell them. He wants their blood. Arte trying to make it happen, but it's down to 2-on-2. And Arte won't be able to bring it back. Bring around for Bleed. They're begging for it. But they're sticking to the defuse. They can sticking to the defuse. It's defused halfway. Forsaken doesn't peek.
Revealing area.
So smart. Recon to the upper end. Balena gets it. Bleed. They're getting around.
Right. You ready for 12-12?
Oh no.
You ready for overtime? Oh, buckle up, Buttercup, because we are in for a long one. Bleed,
who said it?
ready for the comeback.
Who said it? Who said 13-0 in chat?
Yeah.
You've
so
jinxed
many
it.
people. So many
jinxed
people.
it.
I think it was about 2,000 people that watched the 13-0. To you, you're the reason it didn't happen. Your hope broke that. Bleed will be very thankful for it, though, as Bleed now gets through to the anti-eco.
Did we say 13-0? I could have said 13-0.
No. It's okay, Paddle. Someone listens to us anyway.
Okay, fair. Okay. It's not like it's our job.
No.
Absolutely not. Okay. Fair enough. I'm actually surprised Paper X aren't going for an enforcement here. I think they realize, okay, let's get this under the way. Let's get this, swept up under the rug.
Spike down mid. One
Okay.
enemy remaining.
This is looking more like it.
It's gonna be 12-12.
Okay. Calm down, Crema. Come on.
If I say it now, it sounds cool when it happens.
How can't Bleed make a mistake in 12 rounds running? From what we've seen so far.
It'll be difficult, but it's just down to their recovery. It's down to their recovery.
I love the excitement though. Like if you've seen the cameras, there's fist bump still. Oh, right, yeah, we got around.
Yeah, that's the big bonus of playing on boot camp, isn't it?
Yeah, mental. Mental. Oh, look at this build. No, they can't afford to lose one, so they're going for the full expenditure.
That's a good spot.
Third round, full buy. Mad stack towards B. Oh, no one can expect this. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Oh, you're not expecting Forsaken. And Quadra will put Paper X on top. What an explosive start. And now there's only one remaining to put into his collection. Alter hiding away once again. Will be able to survive. No ace for the one remaining Forsaken. But the end has come. 13-2. Paper X close out their opponents' map pick.
And look how calm they look. Calm, disciplined, like, yeah, we do that every day, Pavlos. This is nothing.
With elevator music as well to go for it. It's just a casual walk in the park.
Anyone who ever doubted Paper X on your behalf, I apologize. What was that? Paper X just played out their minds. And even if you disregard kills, even if you disregard the fact that Jing's a one-man army, the fact that Forsaken can just show up an ace, it's the fact that even when it came down to kind of fundamentals like utility, the Device flashes were just breathtaking. He could go the rest of this series without landing a single flash, and he'd still have like an average blind time better than almost every other player in this tournament because of how good those initial flashes were.
Man, this game was insane, and yeah, I'm afraid we'll only be seeing Paper X on the highlight reel here, unfortunately for Bleed. Do we feel there's comeback potential for Bleed here, Crema? What do you reckon?
I have my reservations. However, I'm not a quitter. I'll stand by my prediction of Bleed 2-1. Fracture's a very different map to Ascent. So there is still, there's a real chance that Bleed might be able to bring something else out, but yeah.
There have been so many cool plays here. I think Paper X also were very comfortable to play aggressively in their opponents' faces. You've mentioned this before, and I wasn't quite sure how much your statement stood. Paper X are by far the better aimers in this league. By far. You have to outbrain them. You can't go for these angels. But Paper X always force them into these angels. Always. Crazy.
Yeah, Bleed needs to change a lot before our next map, and I don't know if sort of 5-10 minutes is enough, frankly. Like, this for me is the difference between a regional dominance in Bleed, looking to be some of the best in APAC, and international dominance, which is what Paper X do. These guys, they are one of the best in the world, and we're really starting to see that now.
I mean, to be fair, it's not really too bad of a day for Bleed, right? They've already gotten the spot in VCT APAC.
That's true.
Although if they do lose this match, it's a guaranteed third seed. So the weakest of the seeds, and one which is more difficult for them to come back from. So, I mean, not sure how big of a difference it will make. I don't think it makes too big of a difference. But, every seeding counts. If you can make it further in the tournament, wouldn't be too bad. But we know Paper X isn't just looking to go far in the tournament. They're looking to win the entire thing. And this map is just a testament of the discrepancy of performance.
I'm really glad that Devi gets MVP. I was worried. It's not that Jing doesn't deserve it. It's the fact that Devi's flashes were just incredible. You take a look at the KDA as well. Because Devi's setting up everyone, he's not usually the first point of contact, so all he has to do is just clean up whatever Jing leaves behind. Let's be honest, it's not much, but it's able to garner him 21 kills. Devi, hell of a game from him.
Might I remind you, like the last round ended with a stack from Bleed on the defense in Garage, and it was PRX that just pressed W and mouse 1 and just steamrolled past them.
Yeah.
An entertaining game, and no question to why the stats are how they are. Bravo, Paper X. But what I am excited about, is Fracture, and that's up next.
Yeah.
So, how much do you expect the results to be different, Krema?
I think it's probably going to be a bit of a longer game. I think for Bleed, if you want to win this, you try and pace it out like a marathon. Jing being able to dominate every single round, Avai and Forsaken being able to dominate every single round, you won't be able to do it every round. It's just a matter of trying to get those rounds where they've quietened down to be a lot more consistent. And the longer the game goes on for, the higher the chances of that happening. So right now, Bleed needs to prepare for a marathon and just try their absolute utmost to force us to a third map. The longer it goes on for, the better off they are. We're going to have to see if they can do just that on Fracture in just a moment. We'll be back after this 5-minute break.
numbers moving in so quickly. Listen to the absolute symphony of footsteps. Now you have to move away and move into Leonard. The Lion strike with his Frey, and Frey continues to play. Could it be the pistol ace?
Because if they rush back into him and he doesn't find those strikes, that could be painful, but he finds every single one of them. Are you kidding me, Forsaken?
We were this close to a 13-0. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. Unfortunately, you'll Bleed. But either way, the outcome of that map was not fortunate for Bleed. But now they have another chance. But unfortunately, again for them, is that it is their opponent's map pick. But Paper X looks so far unstoppable on Fracture. My name is X-Warrior, joined by Kremer, of course. Hope you guys are enjoying the cast as well today. It's been a marvel joining for the first time, at least for myself here in the Malaysian, Singaporean VCT challenges. So I'm super happy you guys are having me. For Kremer, this is not your first radio, so you've experienced all this, but it really is truly great to be here.
What I'm very happy with is when I did the first MISG with Leg Day, it was our first APAC, it was our second APAC event actually. And during the first and second APAC events, we said, we're not leaving APAC. Like, we're going to be here. So, massive thank you to the Esports Club for actually bringing us back. Don't know why they did that. I bet they're regretting that now. But they did anyway. So, really, really amazing stuff from them, of course. They've made this whole thing possible. They're the ones who are running it. Every time you see something on screen, they're the ones who press the button to make it happen. The reality is, casting's quite an easy job. They're the ones who are doing the hard bit. So, very, very big shout out to them. Of course, we are going to be moving on to our second map of Fracture, where Bleed are going to have their shots at redemption, having been embarrassed ever so slightly against Paper X on a set.
Ever so slightly? Yeah, that's one way of saying it. That's one way of saying it. Oh my god. All right, Bleed. I'm sure they are a team that can definitely have the mental capability of actually coming back. It's just a matter of how. We know Paper X have been kind of brewing things behind the scenes. Ascent was one of those maps where they were kind of hiding stuff, maybe try and bring something different. And they did. They've done it for a second time today. It was impossible for Bleed to prepare in time for this. It was impossible for Lace to prepare because they got 13-6 on that one as well. Unlike the follow-up of the maps. But Fracture is one where Paper X more often than not goes to, but they've shown a plethora of strategies on it. So, Kremer, what do you think is the strategy that will stick by them this particular one?
I mean, with for both teams. I mean, for Paper X, aggression, it worked for them. Benkai's hitting, he's able to support. Device hitting some incredible flashes, and that just allows Jing and Forsaken to go kill everyone. Over on Bleed, I want to see a lot more of a start pace. I want to see them start trying to force Paper X into slowing down and just reducing their tempo, reducing their momentum ever so slightly. And if you can keep rounds sort of ending at kind of 10-20 seconds, then their momentum starts to slow to a bit of a crawl. And it means that you are able to sort of punish a little bit where you can. That being, that's much easier said than done. Paper X, we said, best aim in APAC. But while the teamwork lacks, that's how Lace was able to beat them. The reality is Paper X, they excel at forcing you to take Angels with them.
I kind of know what to expect, really. I'm expecting a Neo Breach combo. There it is, again.
Yeah.
Whether that is the case on the other side, it isn't. It's a double duelist lineup. Make it triple duelist because Chamber is a duelist. And the support is really Lene and Maxi. So I'm interested to see how this one works out. We've seen the adaptations taken from other regions, really. How do you play up against a Breach? Neon is by sort of playing back, giving them that early space, at least kind of being a little bit unorthodox with the placements of your players, have some crossfire setups to kind of deal with that aggression. But having double duelist from the Bleed side kind of makes me think they're going to go for the exact opposite. I feel like they're going to be pushing instead.
They really are. This is quite a cool matchup for me. The Neon Breach combo versus the Breach Brimstone combo, both of which have their pros, both have their cons, and the Brimstone for me adds a lot more delay. It's very, very good at burning time. What I think is actually even more interesting from this is the fact that Paper X on their defense have a very attack-oriented setup. Bleed on the attack have a very defense-oriented setup. So double duelist has proven to be effective. I don't know how good Reyna is, though, with the current climate of Valorant. I think Reyna has taken a very big backpedal now So it's going to be interesting to see how Bleed will be able to wield them. Let's head in game, though. No more chatting about it. No more talking, umming, and ahhing. Let's get straight into the game, where Paper Rex are going to try and look to take a very convincing series 2-0, whereas Bleed are going to use this as their shot for redemption.
I really like this composition as well from Paper Rex because of the Viper and the mind games it creates for the matchup, really. Because you don't have another controller; it's just the Viper. So wherever you throw the wall, is that where they're actually committing to? How long do you wait to throw down that wall? There's so much to kind of play mind games with. But Paper Rex, they are going to push from the B site. They will find it open. A site footsteps, plethora of footsteps, of course, in that direction. Well, Paper Rex know over this now due to Mind Freak's positioning, but they do gain the site control. They find it empty and get the spike down as well.
I really like the fact that, that's beautiful aftershock, actually. We'll talk about what I like in a moment. Forsaken won't like bullets to his face, though.
They don't spend any time thinking about going in for it. They go in for it without thinking a second time. All shots found. The trades go their way. Bleed can't do anything. In attempt of their retreat, they stumble to their deaths. Paper Rex keep that tempo going.
What I really like was a Mind Freak not fighting there from tower. Realizing that actually there's already 3 players on the flank, already in attacker spawn. You might as well wait, then attackers fight. They do just that. They trade one another beautifully. They're even able to get the advantage because Devi is just nasty. There. And like that, Paper Rex, they draw the first blood. However, it's now on Bleed. Can they prove Paper Rex immortal? Lace could do it, but was that fluke? Bleed are going to look to do even more so with frenzies, with sheriffs, Paper X down to Spectres.
How far can they take it? Fault line, very aggressive, as it is expected. They can't go anywhere, but Forsaken needs to be forgiven at this point because he has sinned. Mind Freak getting it done. Oh, from behind, as deadly as that is. Bleed fall very, very quickly.
Paper X now 2-0 in the lead, and as we mentioned earlier, Bleed, the one thing they need to do is slow down Paper X's momentum. It just hasn't done that, though. Bleed are left with a full investment. Sure, we are seeing kind of Vandals come out on every member, Darion kind of umming and ahhing about what to buy here, but over on Paper Rex, Spectres round the board.
There.
All right. Well, Paper X have got lesser weaponry this time around. You don't really expect too much from it. But they want to keep this going, don't they? They've won the previous one, but they had to. Forsaken to the far corner.
I'm out of here.
Bleeds approaching. They kind of want to take these long-distance shots. Darion was the only one without a weapon, quickly shut down, but the B-side push is commencing. What a flashpoint! And Forsaken just swings by. Devi as well. They make it look so easy, Crema. And a Vandal has now been found. Forsaken met to his grade. Devi falls in a similar fashion. Okay. Did go a little bit too far in there and get punished by it, but they need to be careful of their backline because Ching is there for some ka-ching, putting that money in his back pocket. He does get one, but it's still a 1-on-2, and Lenny has to do it all by himself.
At least right now, Paper X is separated. You can take the 1v1s, but that does mean winning them. Benkai able to get that killing blow. And something I want to highlight, Pavlos, is the Spectres with a premium weapon there for the Paper X, but it's actually their sheriffs and their headhunters which do the majority of the legwork. Lead 3-0 down. They move to their next investments. We are seeing a Vandal out on Darion, so they are able to they're definitely able to pack a punch. But for Paper X now, Vandals and every player, Spectre over on Mind Freak. Yes, the 3-0 in the lead, but we'll see if they can follow that up. Lenny with a Rolling Thunder readily available. Devi with a Tour de Force. Doubt we'll see it this round though.
Crossing forwards, fault line, initialize. I like the stun. Quite a lot is thrown from the Paper Rex side. Rolling Thunder as retaliation though. Pith able to get one before he drops. That's an important one. Delays the rest of them. Still, Forsaken swinging past. So aggressive! That one is a highlight for the ages. The highlight of the tournament. Forsaken just says hello and deletes 3.
I bet right now Forsaken has initial D blasting into his headset. That's the only way. It's the only way you can drift that fast. And the fact you're able to get 3 kills off the back of it, just insane. Paper Rex 4-0 up. Bleeds. They move into an investment, but you look at this from Forsaken. I don't think he even meant to get that 3rd kill. That was amazing.
It's the fortunate way of events, my friend. It's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Oh, Bleed cannot feel good. They're probably just praying to their gods right now that let this be over quickly or let us prevail. I'm sure they'll fight for the latter, but it doesn't seem like Paper Rex are making this easy for them. Aggression towards the one extremity just eliminates the possibilities of them being there anymore, which means I can focus towards the other side. Divide! Such a strong hold. Showstopper just makes it ever so difficult for them to cross. Deny after deny after denial. Lene will be able to hold on for a little bit longer. And he's actually been able to find a couple here. Not impossible, but not much health to get this done.
Lene has done a very good job at outmaneuvering Mindfreak here. Being able to get to the other side of ropes, and Mindfreak is now starting to doubt himself a little bit, but setting his gaze back to this B site is actually... Mindfreak's brain is so huge, I'm surprised he can actually sit up.
Good one.
Yeah, well, I thought he was anticipating the flank backhand to be actually. It's a little bit smaller than we initially thought. It's gone from like bus to just large van.
30 seconds left.
Fair. No way. Oh, they're going to meet in the A site, aren't they? They're so going to meet onto the A site. Oh, Mindfreak, you don't have to do a thing.
Back to bus level.
Oh, Mindfreak, you don't have to do a thing. Just stay around. Just check your left in time, and that is all you need.
Oh, my.
Oh, it just hurts to be Lena right now. It just hurts to be Bleed. The teabag for good measure.
Oh, I take it back. I'm sorry, Mindfreak, for doubting the size of your magnanimous brain. It's bigger than we could have possibly thought.
He's just thinking on another level right now, man.
That is an Airbus A380 brain right there. They are just being pummeled, and even in rounds where, you know, Lenny recovers it very well, you know, 3 quick kills works beautifully. That's not even enough. Spectres, Sheriffs come out for Bleeds. The tour de force in response from Devi, accompanying a judge here. Aggression from Forsaken, and somehow he's still able to kill.
It seems like if this guy had his like arms sort of bound to the back of his body, you know, he'd still be able to find kills.
Yeah.
It feels like he was tied down. He'd still be able to find kills. Like, it's impossible to detain him. It truly is difficult. A spike in the hands of Mindfreak. Benkai knows he doesn't have to force his luck. But luck is forced onto him, and that's a Vandal. Now this is doable. Devi has a judge. For pure meme reasons, Devi has a judge. Ding found. So Mindfreak won't be able to deal with the rest of them. Is a judge going to close us out? Are the memes strong enough? Oh, he's got a tour de force. Of course he does. Of course he does. Switches out to the judge. No way! Oh! Alta able to bring it back. That nearly happened. That just nearly happened.
Is this a war crime? Like, are we at that level yet? Please, they find a round, but my God, it was a bit close to comfort. Vandals come out. Darion's going to be able to bring out a tour de force. Something else to highlight for Bleed. So they've got 5 ults readily available. So I'm fully expecting them to be dumped this round. Yes, Paper Rex have a strong buy, but their ult management isn't going to match that of Bleed here.
You want to play? Let's play.
Cutting their vision.
Well, at least Bleed have gotten themselves something out of it. As soon as they do say something good about Bleed, they somehow find a way to just drop a player that quickly. Levi just hold down the ground. Instead of falling back into the orbital strike, he aggresses even further. Concussion onto Maxi, but still in the sky. Finds a bullet to connect. Jing! Double blast packing onwards, knowing of the last player. This is Chaos Crema.
These are some of the fastest swings. These are like subsonic swings right now from Jing and Forsaken. It's absolutely lethal, and Bleeds with once again a shattered economy and broken dreams look to try and find respite in this A site of fracture. But is that really where you go to find respite, or is that where you go to punish yourself and find yet more pain?
Get out of my way!
I am starstruck. This is something. That's the best commentary I've got. This is something.
This is something. Cheers, Pavlos. That's why you pay us the big bucks. Aggression from Forsaken, and it just works. It just works. Lene, a 1v4. Oh my God. Paper X 7-1.
I think Bleed need a comfort cookie. Someone send these guys donuts and cookies. I think they're gonna need it after this. Yeah, they're gonna need it.
But maybe a hug, therapy.
Maybe a hug.
I think they need all of it.
To be fair, what can comfort them is their spot in VCT APAC.
Yeah, they're there anyway. Right now they're playing for
They're
seed.
there anyway,
so,
right? Yeah,
so,
it's a seeding
there
fight.
is solace in this. There is solace in this. But if this Paper X is playing against Lays, would Lays win again?
I doubt it. But at the same time, this is sort of how they played up against the Sen.
That's true.
Like, it feels like a completely different playstyle, right? And we saw Lays sort of be better prepared about this attack. I think they would have played a little bit more passive to begin with, kind of given that space early and play together in different quarters. I feel they would have been able to find a solution to this by now. And what Bleed is doing is doing the over and over the same thing again. But at the same time, you can't really judge them because their mental is probably broken from the previous map.
Yep. Darion finishing off Jing. It looks like Bleed may be able to find a fairly convincing round here. And they do so essentially by just breaking Paper X's momentum. We saw, Forsaken pushes through that smoke, gets punished for it. It's a nasty shot there. Divide falls. And for Bleeds, they sort of went a little bit quiet and they allowed Paper X to push into them. Really, really strong round. And if they can mimic this, they can do this again and again, then this could turn into a very, very close map. But will Paper X allow them to?
Paper X are going to try and do so much damage here. Already, he found a couple of heads onto Maxi. Still able to survive, still able to find the shot. But Bleed get a second round. This isn't unsolvable. If Bleed are able to create some tempo for themselves, and Paper X kind of make too many mistakes, we've seen games like these being turned around.
Yeah, they have been. I don't know if this is the game where a turnaround does happen. I think that for Bleeds, they need kind of 1 or 2 more rounds on the bounce, then they're set. But if Paper X are able to just strike back, then Bleed won't have the economy to be able to consistently fight for it.
Well, sidestep on the fault line, taking the zip lines as well. Oh no, they're being followed, and they know it! Oh, sprayed out across Forsaken! So much greediness, man!
Gotcha.
It's crazy. Yeah, someone just give these guys Zoloft or something. Like, calm down a bit.
Yeah.
Calm down.
This is where Bleed find that momentum. They've realized that Paper X is getting too confident. They realize Paper X now, they just want kills, and they're punishing it. 3-on-1 for Divide is location known. I mean, damage is going to suck here for Bleeds, but if they can quickly finish the job, which they do, then, the comeback is definitely an option here. You're not going to win the half. Paper X already on 7. But even if you kind of get 4 or 5 rounds, you've already got the foundations for a very good defense half.
Yeah, you can't afford to go too aggressive here for Paper Rex. I think they've already done that a couple of rounds in a row, and they're starting to run out of funds, therefore kind of losing the net. This round in particular is where everything can go wrong, and where Bleed can potentially line 5 rounds in a row and close up the gap to a level where potentially a comeback is more than feasible. So Paper Rex need to be a little bit wary here and not kind of get too over-eager, too over-aggressive, and get the success in their heads.
Well, there's Rolling Thunder. Buys a bit of time. Won't buy a kill yet.
Forsaken close by, quickly getting the first kill. Lena looking to trade. Forsaken goes in for more! He's so strong on this pick. Rejuvenated, holding down their ground. Viper's Pit as well. They know where the spike lies, but they also know where the 2 players left from Bleed are going to need to rotate from. Instead of rotating, though, they still stick to their ground. Forsaken underneath them, thirsty for the kills. What Benkai does, instead of challenging them towards Arcade, backs off towards the B site, maybe to help out towards that spike location, and guarantee they've got control over the site. But yeah, Spike isn't anywhere close to be found. So Bleed might be conceding this round on purpose.
I mean, honestly, saving here is not too bad at all. Yeah, Maxi doesn't have any cash. I think the remainder of Bleed also are kind of strapped for cash right now. So let the round take over. Wield your weapons in the next round. Paper Rex getting 8 is unavoidable, unfortunately. What I also want to highlight the fact as well is that Bleed are getting very close to getting their next ult cycle online. So they are fairly close to being able to...
they're going for it
10
now.
seconds left.
I'm surprised they're going for it.
They're going for it.
6 seconds left.
And, oh, they don't have time. They don't have time. It looked like they were going for it. I think Bleed thought that PRX knew where the spike was and would have probably been camping it and maybe would have tried to got a few more kills, which they do get in the end. Darion, that is a very important kill, but none that really will help you in the opposing side's buy next round. But yeah, PRX didn't know where the spike was, or at least forgot about it. So they missed out on a chance to potentially go for a plant there.
They really did. Darion, really nice sort of nice second wins towards the end of that round there. But it doesn't seem to matter too much because they're still 8-3 down. Right now, Bleed, they need rounds, they need them fast. Paper Rex looking to give us the 9-3 curse once again. Bleed go for slow but fairly sagacious control of the B site.
Bleed considerably have slowed down the pace. So have Paper Rex. Only dish push has come forth from Jing. Oh, Devi. It could have been 2, but it is only 1. Forsaken goes for the swing, and Ten is there to retrieve it with the operator. Not often you see the Breach holding that weapon, but still, they've taken over the site. Benkai with a charge, taking down Arte. He's got a Rolling Thunder now, and he's got assistance. Or does he? Quick positioning for him, finds himself a better weapon, and wants to go in for more, this time with help. How do you make it look so darn simple? 9-3 in favor of Paper Rex. Really
strong round from Benkai there. And that util usage is just breathtaking. Once again, Devi and Benkai, both of which, Devi with the flashes over on Ascend, Benkai now with this breach utility is setting up kills. It's making getting kills so easy for Paper Rex here. They're 9-3 up. Bleed move their pistol round on the defense. If this pistol round fails, then Paper Rex are going to be ready to send Bleed on a highway to hell.
Great song.
Yeah, it's the soundtrack ready to come in. I don't know if we can afford the licensing for it, though.
No. Well, I mean, Riot probably can, but I'm pretty sure they don't want it.
Let's have a look with their marketing department, see what we can do.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. I mean, if I ever get one sort of song copyrighted, or at least gotten the claims for with Riot, I probably just push for more because I just love implementing songs.
Why not?
In the cast, but yeah.
So this Valorant matchup is a musical.
Yeah. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase.
Bleeds need to start paying attention to Hakuna Matata. And I tell you what they are. They're going to Hakuna Paper Rex's Matatas as it's down to divide. 1v5.
I mean, it's a good pistol. It's what they needed. It's a step in the right direction, that's for sure. A flawless round at that. A lot better than the last pistol they were able to win.
And it's one they've needed. They've needed a clean round. Now they can start to stage their comeback. Now, Paper Rex, yes, they have a lead, and yes, quite a significant lead. But being able to play the bonus, being able to then see what you can do against the rifles, you are able to close the distance a little bit here, particularly.
Again, Paper Rex don't go for the force buy right after. I think they want to make sure that this is done and dusted. A bit more composed, I'd say. Forsaken now with not much to live for in regards of health will look to play aggressive. That is his downfall. That is the Marshal no longer in their hands. Darian looking to have some fun here at the range. As Jing and Divide will be the final two players remaining, looking to find some spoils of war themselves. But it's not going to be a simple endeavor. Alta deals with the one. Divide all that remains. Again, the final remaining player. He just loves exiting last, but at least goes down with a bang. 2 rounds in a row here for Bleed, as Paper Rex now will be entering in the big boy rounds.
9-5, and we find our first big boy round. That being Vandals on every member of Paper Rex. Luckily, no ults really to come online for a good 2 or 3 rounds now. In fact, the only ult we're even going to get close to seeing is the Tour de Force on Darion. Considering he's the only player with a Vandal here, I doubt we'll be seeing him bring out this round. Pith also brings out a Vandal, so Bleed's defense still has a bit of impact to it. And with a 5-man push out through B main here, Paper Rex, they've avoided the majority of it, and instead are just going to go hit this A site with a lurking Forsaken.
I like this from Paper Rex, actually. Convinced them of the B site with a simple toxic screen, and now moving towards that A site. Very good movement by them. At the same time, though, Bleed are playing with lower weaponry. But they do find a Vandal here, which means they double it up. Trip, they've got 3 Vandals now available for them. This is more than doable. Divide needs a pick here, has to drop away. Thankfully, is able to TP out of there. Jing, Forsaken, both chiming in. This should be it. This should be the beginning of the end for Bleed. Divide out into the open, can't TP away this time around, but Forsaken is there with the alternative angle, and now we're down to 1 and 2. Alta, with all to play with, trying to keep Bleed back into this game, but it's going to be tough. Time ticking, and Jing with a side swing corner, 7 points of health remaining, but it's Paper Rex on 10, double the amount of rounds that Bleed have accumulated, and on the highway to closing out this match.
Right now, Paper Rex are 3 rounds away from guaranteeing a rematch against Lays. Their chance to redeem themselves almost. And for Bleed, right now, they're but a speed bump to Paper Rex as they look to plow their way through to the #1 seed to go to APAC. Remember, both these teams are in APAC regardless. Right now, the seeding, which is what matters. Forsaken going aggressive early on. Alti backs off. Darion, a bit of an off angle to hold here.
All right, let's have a look at this one. Give Bleed the benefit of the doubt. It hasn't been easy. Oh, just lets it explode in front of him. The determinedness to kind of grab a kill here out of nowhere. Flashpoint to the side. They're looking at breach from both directions. This B site is soon to be taken. Bleed falls towards their spawn. What can they do here? Both Canteen and Generator being held by them. Bleed starting to rain bullets upon them. A double operator will be the answer to their prayers. And on the long distance shots, PRX have to fall. Bleed getting every single kill they've needed. And Benkai with a Spectre is all that remains. And it's just a matter of time until he's dead as well.
Hariri.
Darion
Hariri.
Off the initial angle.
Oh,
There's a
bermain.
fall. Benkai's trying to make it expensive right now. And considering how Bleed committed a fair few ults here, this is suddenly worrisome. Benkai down to a 1v2.
There's a Vandal beneath him as well if he wants it. No, it's further away. If he gets another, oh, no way, no way. Both players are full health on the Bleed side. Pre-fire there from Pith, 14 seconds, not much time. And there you have it, swing in the nick of it. Although Benkai is able to make it slightly more expensive, the dub falls in the arms of Bleed nonetheless.
And right now, Bleed, they just need dubs. It doesn't matter how costly they are, it doesn't matter how messy they are. So as they're winning rounds, a comeback is still a very likely circumstance for them. There's only 4 rounds that separate them. Paper Rex as well, with such limited cash, means that Bleed really could start to gain some traction on this comeback. But that is entirely dependent on how Paper Rex are going to be investing into this round. You look at the ult management as well. Paper Rex about to hit their cycle, Divide, Forsaken, Jingle, one away from getting theirs online. Benkai already with a Rolling Thunder. Over on Bleed, it's a little bit quieter. We saw the Blaze Storm and the Tour de Force last round. Pith is one away from the Empress, but I don't know if that Empress has the same sort of round sculpting impact like a Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, especially if you've been absent most of this match as well. I mean, Pith hasn't been the high-impact player you kind of want him to be, but at the same time, his usage in this particular instance, albeit being on the duelist, has been kind of for the space creation type of play. So, yeah, kind of trying to set up Alte for success or Darion in this way. Let's see if this changes around, as you said, around where Paper Rex, you don't expect too much from them. This is a build-up for the next, but we've seen them pack a punch with Sheriffs before, therefore it wouldn't be too surprising if they were able to do it again.
Paper Rex looking like a hit away is going to be their plan. They're going to have a fairly big engagement over on Dish though to start.
Very aggressive push from Forsaken there. Has got the reinforcements. Unfortunately for him, there's a sky smoke between himself and teammate. Toxic screen now unable towards the A site, opening up events to start to move forwards. Alter, operator in hand will make this look simple, but the Vandal of Benkai is yet to be put in on test. Benkai delivers, Jing has to fall. Vandal of Paper Rex still prevails, not for long though. Takes down 2 before he ends up dropping himself, but Bleed closing up the gap, getting a 7th, and a win that was mostly expected from.
Double op setup now from Bleed as well. First one's dropped. Is that going to be retrieved? Yes, it will be. So double op setup against Paper Rex, who have a Tour de Force. That's in terms of snipers. For Bleed as well, in these next 2 rounds, only 2 of them are going to be crucial because Paper Rex don't have money. You win this round, and Paper Rex goes straight down to an eco, regardless of what ults they have to assist them. If you lose it, though, Paper Rex, they start trying to set up for the win.
Bleed are actually aggressing towards the B main entry, so they've cleared quite a lot of positions. Trademark is there to kind of figure that all out when the time comes. They've just been spotted, so Paper Rex are turning their attention towards it now. They need to be quick though. Deva, you knew about it, but still end up falling. Mindfree picking up, Rolling Thunder to deny it. Not taking any chances here, but you expect another one to the right. You do, because you've got the reinforcements at Benkai, and now Paper Rex are on top. Maxi finding another, but the positions of the defenders are heavily polarized. Forsaken so darn low, but finds the head. It's human stuff, but now they've got a decision to make. Where do they head to? The A site is their choice of site take. Orbital strike expended from Maxi, and that will be heavily costly because Paper Rex have got the advantage.
Yeah, I'm very surprised at that usage of the orbital strike there. It also means that right now for Bleed, their ult economy is slowly being dwindled. The fact that Paper Rex are able to force out an orbital strike without even, well, without seeing it is really, really impressive now. As a follow-up comes through, Maxi looking to push through Divider now, walking into a crossfire unknowingly.
Maxi crossing forwards, knows where at least one of the players are, but when you play up against a crossfire, this is not going to be easy. Snakebite means that he will be damaged. Onto the spike he goes, putting caution to the wind to the defenders here, but that's it. There's no way he's going to do anything about it. He's off the spike now. possibly to fall into the crossfire of Mindfreak. The fault line does come in, but it's not before Mindfreak is able to rip his head apart from his body. And we're looking at Paper Rex 2 away from closing out this series and heading to the grand final.
11-7. Lenny has a Rolling Thunder, but that's it from Bleed. And unless Darion and Alti have some particularly strong rounds, Paper Rex are going to be able to, assuming they win these rounds, get to the end of the series against one ult from Bleed. They still have a Viper Spit for an afterplant. They still have Forsaken's ult. They still have the Showstopper from Jing. There is so much utility right now. There's a myriad of ways to deploy them.
Levi getting it done, Forsaken as well. This is looking a lot like it from Paper Rex, getting it done. Showstopper initialized, Forsaken with the overdrive, keeps it going. Barely's got any health, but he doesn't care. He knows he can shoot them down. Maxi, though, will be able to stop him. Finally, close by from Alti, but it is going to be Paper Rex with the numbers. And Maxi barely is breathing. He's limping across the map, slowly but surely making his way towards the B site. Devi will stop him in his tracks as he puts his team onto map and series points.
12-7. Bleed with a... Yes, they have a bye. It's not a pretty one, though. They even used the Rolling Thunder that round for relatively little in exchange from Paper Rex. Mindfreak still with the Viper Spit, and so the second Paper Rex gets to a site, it's going to spell big, big trouble for Bleed. They do have a buy, though. Guardians, Judges, Spectres, Bulldogs. Yes, it's a garage buy, but it's still a buy, and these weapons are going to be so, so important.
Paper Rex seem to have found their voodoo again. They've found their rhythm. Paint shells across to the side. Oh no, that is Darian dead. Darian, no. He barely survives, 30 points of health, not too bad. But Paper Rex double back from the initial position and look to venture towards the B site instead, perhaps. Maxi is challenged a bit, keeping them busy, occupied. But there's only one defender, Kramer. There's only one hiding in the B site, and that is Alti.
Alti's going to try and dig in, just buy time. Unfortunately, as a Jet, you don't have many time-buying abilities.
They're going in. And that is Jing completely catching Alti off guard. It's got to hurt when you die like this. Maxi is actually keeping it going. That's his second kill. You've got him with a Guardian so far. Well, the first one. If you line it up with the previous rounds, it's the third. The Viper Spit will be dropping and making the events just that more easier for them. Devi just pushing through Arcade here. Catching off Maxi. Concussed. Judge getting the job done. Suddenly... Bleed have got more players. Forsaken to the back end of it. Not much health remaining. But plays a close by angle. Here's the movement. Here's the commotion. Walks out in front of him. Gets one in the head. But now it's down to Mindfreak. And he's still got his Viper Spit. Flies ahead and gets the job done. Paper Rex go to the grand finals. They look like they just did something very simple. They feel they shouldn't have been to the lower bracket to begin with. This is just a casual Saturday for them. But I'm sure they're happy deep within to be heading to the grand finals nonetheless.
You may not see it internally, though. They are jumping for joy. We're going to be seeing Paper Rex match up and rematch against Lays in the grand finals of VCT MYSG. What a game, Pavlos.
What a game indeed. And what a day. We've had 3 best of 3s that honestly fairly much surprised in expectation. I think this is the only match in particular that didn't surprise. The only surprising aspect was that Paper Rex was in the lower bracket.